You found yourself at the junction where worlds meet. Politics.
Civility? How about honesty in this country, folks?
Entertainment.
I don't like entertainment.
And a whole bunch of other stuff.
It's about having a healthy body image. You have a very unhealthy body. You should have a horrible body image.
Not a big home improvement market in Detroit.
We are definitely going to get letters.
You're listening to Talk Radio's Strangest Animal.
You're a strange animal, that's what I know.
You're getting louder with Crowder.
But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Oh, I'm in the spiritus.
Glad to be with you. You know what that sound means? It's the sound of the weekend. It's the sound of the weekend approaching. We have some people listening in traffic. We have some people at their computers. Of course, producing with me in video studio, as always, is Jared, who is not gay. You can follow him at NotGayJared. I fulfill my legal obligations. Draw your own conclusions. We good?
We are good.
That squeaking you hear
Good.
is my
It's not
giant
me.
monster
Not me.
Hopper in the studio. For those who are not aware, he actually helps produce the show. And we'll be announcing something. We have a big Hopper announcement, actually, later. At the first commercial break.
Yeah, which is pretty incredible. It's exclusive, I want to
We
say.
have an exclusive with Hopper.
Yeah.
Good boy. Those cheeses have been paying off. His code is glorious. So we have some great guests tonight. We have Austin Petersen, Libertarian candidate. He's back by popular demand because people really liked him. He had this huge surge online. People didn't know who he was, and they had a bunch of questions. So he has agreed to come on and answer your questions. My wife, Mrs. Crowder, will be on with a lovely book review. Also, she said there was something else she was going to surprise me. She had a pretty important request. I don't know what it is. And our first guest is going to be my lawyer, Bill Richmond. So this happened this week. I was kind of the center of some news. Every now and then this happens. We just want to commentate on the news. There was an article in Gizmodo. I wake up Monday. I was supposed to get Sunday. I was supposed to get this weekend off. I got Sunday off. My flights got delayed. I was going up north morel hunting. And then finally, Sunday is the one day I get off. I didn't sleep a wink Sunday night because we were at a hotel that accepts dogs, and there was another dog. That's the thing they don't tell you. It's not your dog. There are other dogs. And there was another dog pawing at our door trying to play with Hopper. And so I was tired. I wake up.
We see how well that went over with my dog.
Yes, we saw how that went over with your dog. Well, your dog's a rapist.
It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
Your dog has
Shameless, too. Shameless about it.
no common courtesy, no
No.
sense of interaction. Wake up, Gizmodo has basically fingered me as one of the people. I know people are going to laugh at that. That's a classic term. Fingered me, but now it means something else. As one of the group's, topics, news organization's Facebook curators, a former Facebook employee, were selected to censor, to curate. Okay. There's a lot that's been going on behind the scenes. So long story short, I filed a legal motion, a legal petition for release of information. It is not due to censorship. I'm not suing Facebook over censorship. There is a payment detail that Facebook has not remedied, to this day will not remedy. It is significant. It can cause significant harm to me. It's been going on for a long time, and I've had a lawyer working on it. The Gizmodo situation, the story that broke, just sped it along, and we'll have the lawyer on because this entire show is, we're always a little bit of a liability. We walk a tightrope on Louder with Crowder, and there's never a net. And every now and then, a melon breaks. You know, you fall down. There's some little
Melons?
guy from Costa Rica. I don't know, trapeze artist. I don't know. Melon's head, noggin. You know what I'm talking about. So we'll have him on. We'll talk about it, some exclusive info. There is a lot going on behind the scenes, and then after that, I'll be free to opine and give you a little bit more information. It's silly. And what I will say is, if Facebook wants to tell everybody, right now they're still swearing up and down that they do not curate or selectively edit news at all. I have defended their right to do so. I still do defend the right to do so. But if they're going to swear to their users and their advertisers that they don't do that, Facebook, stop. Please. You're going to make this so much more painful on yourself than it needs to be. I mean, you would, I can get nervous. I'm not even remotely unnerved here because it's so slam dunk what we're dealing with. And I just hope everybody is honest. So we will talk about that. There's a lot in the news, but that is the biggest news story this week, is the Facebook situation.
That's crazy.
Not a whole lot else has happened. Bruce Jenner rumor. Caitlyn Jenner might be Bruce Jenner again. So
Who saw that coming?
Oh, Dave Rubin might call in. Apparently, he got a letter chastising him for not distancing himself from me, for not distancing myself from Milo for a word that was said at an event. So I sent out an email. I said, "Hey, Reuben, want to call in really quickly?" He's a fun little liberal queer. That's the thing about Reuben. You know, he's a lot. You know, he's fun. He's not bitchy. Not like Gary Johnson. So we have so many stories to get to, but we only have one segment, and then we have to bring on my lawyer right away. I promised him that we would. So I want to talk about this. This is a viral video. We haven't written about this on the site at all, but I think it crystallizes everything that is wrong with modern leftism. Social justice warrior, regressive leftism, whatever you want to call it. Rape culture, homophobia, racism, transphobia, fat shaming, body shaming is a big thing now, where they say health takes all shapes and sizes. That is incorrect. For those still not in the know, please consult your physician. This video went live on YouTube, and it's picking up hits of a rather rotund lady taking her anger out on a scale. Jared, do we have this clip?
We have the clip.
All right,
Ready?
let's roll this clip. I'm ready, and we will offer live commentary because you come to us to be informed.
The destruction of this scale is dedicated to all of the women whose lives have been ruined and ruled by it. This is for us,
The scale
ladies.
didn't ruin your life.
Safety first.
Didn't make you open the ring dings.
But safety first, remember that.
Safety first. Safety first. Let's start with trans fats.
I'm tired of you stealing my life. I'm tired of you making me feel if I'm good or bad. I'm tired of you
The
deciding
scale
how my
just,
day is.
it's a
No
mirror.
more of you deciding my life.
Doesn't tell you if
No
you're good or
more
bad.
of you stealing life from me. This
Stealing
time,
life from you?
I take back my life.
Take back your life.
I'm in control.
I think she's surprised how hard it is to destroy the scale. You fooled yourself into thinking those were triceps. It's teacher fat. I'm sorry. Well, I'm not.
Oh my God. That's like better than sex.
Said everyone who's ever done anything other than have sex with you. Oh, wait. Is that still her?
That was still her
Still
going.
her
That's still
breathing and
going.
huffing?
That was
This is
still her
not
going.
satire?
It's not satire.
That's better than sex. If you think smashing a $14 Walmart scale is better than sex, you're doing it wrong. Which is entirely possible given the parameters of your physical constraints. Sex might not be as...
Hold on.
I know, listen,
She's still going.
Why are you fat shaming? Listen, I'm not fat shaming. This is someone coming out. This is it's emblematic of safe spaces, trigger warnings, rape culture, checking your privilege. This is perfectly congruent with checking your privilege. She is blaming an inanimate object for her life's decisions. The scale didn't make you unhappy. The scale is a reflection of your choices. Some people are overweight. I can come in overweight. It happens with me. I've been known to indulge. It's just like privilege. It's not my fault that I'm a screw-up. It's because you're white. You always have to find a scapegoat. In this case, she avoids the actual goat she's eaten to blame it on the scale. Now you can fact check that. She ate a goat. They removed that video. It's set to private now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they do that. They're kind of tricky about it sometimes.
I don't know if you could say,
They're
maybe
quick.
they could hit me legally. I won't use the word ate. It was more like an anaconda. She sort of unhinged her jaw and slid it down her gullet.
I think I saw that video.
Well,
once.
I
It
love
was in
the
a compilation
commonality.
with the chimpanzee on the Segway.
Yes.
It was right after that clip.
This is the wonder of the internet, not Kate Jared. I love the commonality between the teacher fat with like Trigglypuff and the feminists. Here's the thing. I don't see why someone watching this, she's going, fat shaming. She's going out there and a lot of people are going, you go, girl. Listen, if you're trying to convince people who don't agree with you, just surround yourself with some people who might go, okay, hey, I like the idea. Okay? We're going to go with that. No more body shaming. But we're just not going to name you our official ambassador. Swap her out for the Instagram model. Putting her on there to blame a scale and tell people to be proud of their body, you deserve body pride if you make good decisions for your body. Now, again, same thing like Tess Munster, Tess Holiday, who got furious with me. Open challenge. Show us your food log. Show us your exercise plan. I guarantee you're overweight for a couple of simple reasons. My thyroid, it's glandular. Stop it. Stop it. It's embarrassing. Just like this whole video. I know people are wondering, why did you lead with this?
I felt weird having our little logo bug in the top corner, like associated with it.
I know.
Felt a little.
It's like a time capsule where if my children, they look back and they go, did you have anything to do with this? No, I did not. I did not. I was filing a motion against Facebook that week. I was busy with other things. And the reason it matters is this is going to get up, and again, it's going to be all about feelings versus logic. If you're overweight, listen, we get emails all the time. We've read some on air from overweight people who go, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for providing the tools free and encouraging us to get healthier. My husband and I have been doing it. I take incredible pride. I tear up when I see bigger people at the gym trying to make it better. I don't tear up when I see a fat broad hitting a scale repeatedly, blaming it for all her woes. Just like I don't feel bad.
But we do thank her for the video.
We do thank her for the video. I feel bad if I see a black person being mistreated because they're black. I don't feel bad for a black person who's drinking from a mug labeled #white tears. I don't. You lose the sympathy at this point. You lose the sympathy. Whatever happened to the fat person just sitting in the corner going, oh, gee, I guess I'm overweight, I guess. And then everyone goes, no, you've got good qualities. When you go, I'm fat and I'm proud, people, there's that it's a rubber band effect, right? People want to get a giant rubber band slingshot like a hook and launch you into the Atlantic.
Bangarang the hell out of you.
Bangarang. I don't have the soundboard ready yet, but I wanted to leave with that because I just think it's a perfect crystallization of how far we've gone. Blame white people. Blame the 1%. Blame the wealthy. Blame the scale. What about your doctor? He warned you. He said, no, it's the scale's fault. My lawyer is coming up after this. Bill Richmond. We're going to get all legal. Breaking news. Stay tuned.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. But they fought with expert timing.
Hello, America. Hopper here. Last week, Hopper officially announced his exploratory committee for President of the United States. I am thrilled to announce formally this evening that I am officially running for President of this fine country. For too long, Hopper has seen America have to choose between two unsatisfactory candidates and a never-ending cycle. And that is why, in a Hopper America, there will be sardines and cheeses for all, and no more squirrels. Throughout this evening, Hopper will present to you Hopper's ideas, policies, and plans moving forward to move America in the right direction as it relates to the economy, healthcare, and cheeses for all. Show your support with #FeelTheHopper. And by feel, I mean pets are good too. I think America could use more pets.
All right, I am glad to be back. As promised in the first segment, this man, he needs an introduction. I've been doing all of this press this week, and with the situation going on, whenever you get into the legal issues, there are things you can say, there are things you can't say, so I thought, we have a pretty big show. Let's skip through it. So I'd like to introduce you of Platt, Chima, and Richmond, PLLC, PCR firm, partner there, which bodes well for me, and my attorney, Bill Richmond. Sir, are you there?
I am.
Well, thank you for being on the show, sir. I know this isn't typically on your to-do list, probably, right?
It isn't.
It isn't. Okay. Because I reached out. It was one of our mutual friends, Harvard Law grad, and I talked to him about something that had been going on for a while with Facebook. We can get into it. It was kind of a technical issue. He just goes like, yeah, we'd rather represent Facebook because they have more money, but here's a guy who probably could help you. So I appreciate the cojones that you have, because if you're just going to run a numbers game, It's easier to be on the side of the behemoth. So, listen, you tell me if I'm out of line anywhere here because you're my lawyer. He's a lawyer.
Lawyer.
And he knows what we can and can't say. People are going forward. They've misspoken. I've corrected them. They say a lawsuit. No. We've not filed a lawsuit against Facebook. It has nothing to do with this umbrella term censorship. Bill, you are the qualified lawyer. Let the audience know exactly what it is that we have done.
Well, I think it's easy for folks to try and say, well, it's a lawsuit, it's in a court, you're requesting something. But there's a lot of difference when you actually want to think about using the word lawsuit and what we're asking for and what other folks are asking for. This is a request for information. It is called a petition. If you're in federal court, they have different words for what an initial lawsuit is. And in this one, we're looking for information, and that's why it's titled the way it's titled.
Right. We are looking for information. Now, okay, there are a few things, and you'll let me know what we can get into, what we can't, because obviously the Gizmodo issue goosed us along. But there's a long paper trail. This has been going on for a while. It was, I don't know if you call it a clerical issue, a mishandling of finances, and we were at a point where...
Or technical douchebag issue.
Technical douchebaggery.
Lawyer terms. To use their
Good
terms.
Lord, please, Mark Zuckerberg is watching this right now and taking notes. Careful,
Jared.
You're an incredible liability. This is an issue regarding a clerical... Tell people exactly what this is behind the scenes that you and I were working on for a long time, and then we're past the point of no return. We had no more options. Gizmodo goosed it along. So let them know for those who can't understand me.
Well, for a while here, I mean, since the request that we've been made, you tried to reach out individually before I got involved, and then you were getting rebuffed time and time again, and so you decided that you needed to have someone kind of with a little bit more heft come in and see if we could get more communications and open up a line of communications about the problem that we're facing, and on this billing issue, this mishandling of the payments. And even after sending emails and requests, and even after being told, hey, make sure to contact the legal department, it's kind of embarrassing, but we're just not getting any answers. We're still not getting any answers, even to this day.
That's what happened. I said I was a little bit upset in the phone call. I'm like, listen, man, why don't you call me back? And Bill calls me back and goes, I've never seen anything like it. They've taken your money. You sent Facebook a physical check in 2016 to California. They deposited it. And we still just can't them to say they took your money.
Tech capital of the world sending a physical check.
That's like the lady writing a check in the sardine aisle, at the grocery store, and them coming back and her saying, we never got the check for the sardines. So just to be clear, Bill, there's obviously a paper trail. You know that I said, we just want to get this resolved. I don't want this going to creditors. They were taking payments from me before, during, and after this event. They still are to this day, just to run very low-dose ads. But for some reason, they wouldn't charge me, and they refused to acknowledge that they've deposited a check, which we both know they took.
That's everything that we're seeing, and that's why we sent those requests. That's why you sent your requests. That's why I sent my requests, and that's ultimately why we're at where we're at. It's another escalation of we have information, and we have issues, and we need to get those things resolved. Knock, knock, knock. Someone get an answer.
Right. Well, and obviously the Gizmodo, and I told you right up front, I said, listen, just so you know, it's well known kind of in conservative circles. People think that there is selective editing. We have had posts removed with no justification. They've not told us which posts or which cause. I said, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is going on. So when we started talking, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this is going on, but I just want to get this issue resolved because this is a clear-cut financial issue that we just want to be over and done with. And then Gizmodo happened, and that raises some pretty concerning questions as to why this is happening, right?
That's exactly the case. I mean, when we were looking at this as a billing issue, we thought, well, they're a big company. Maybe it's just a clerical error. Certainly, why would Facebook want to go after a particular account like this? And then when you listen to all the reasons that have come out recently this week, not just from Gizmodo, but from other folks who have been jumping on that story and revealing even more facts, it does start to lend you to think this is the answer to the why the billing issues were happening, in addition to the other issues in terms of your accounts.
Right, because in addition to the evidence that people see in front of the scenes, and tell me if I'm out of line here, you have seen a ton of emails, screenshots, posts, inconsistencies that we looked at and we're going, okay, well, we don't want to go down that road, but you've been aware of this for a while, right?
Certainly, it's public. It's ultimately public facing. If someone were to be watching your page all the time, they may even have been able to see this as well. Posts that go up, posts that go down, posts that come back. And behind all of this, again, is your ongoing requests and then ultimately our ongoing requests for transparency. What's happening? Can't you tell us?
Right, exactly. Let me ask you this, to boil it down. So I sent them back and forth emails with accounts payable. I made several accounts available to them, accounts that they still use for, again, these low-grade ads. We are independent. We don't have anyone else running ads for us. It comes entirely from Not Gay Jared and myself. These are still running today. The same accounts that I made available to them for this very specific payment, I reached out. I tried to get on the phone. I finally had you reach out. You went through all of your avenues. Was there any other option aside from filing for this petition for information at this point? Because they still haven't resolved it.
The only other option would have just let them get away with it. I mean, it would have been saying, well, you can just keep my money and keep doing this. But, ultimately, that's why this is exactly the way that it is. It's not a lawsuit for damages, and people keep trying to characterize it that way. It really is a request for information, and it's an escalation of the requests that have gone to this day unanswered.
Absolutely. Okay, well, Jared, you're telling me that we have to go to a break relatively soon. All right, well, we have 30 seconds. Okay, so, Bill, we want to keep you on for the next segment because guess what? This is a lawyer who doesn't suck. You ever watch these lawyers on television?
Don't suck.
All they do is say, well, we're not legally able to disclose that.
No, I can't talk about that.
This guy came on and made a joke right away. Bill Richmond. By the way, no one would have expected him to be part Asian when you hear that name.
No.
I know I didn't. Attorney Bill Richmond. We will be back. Louder with Crowder. Bill, thank you. Stay with us. Everyone else, stay tuned. More details.
Welcome to Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks. The Black Widow. The mere name strikes fear in those of all who hear it. An oft misunderstood and one of nature's most dangerous creatures, the Black Widow finds itself in the exclusive position of being one of the few species where the female picks her male mate. As you see here, the heated dance of sexuality is one of nature's most cruel tricks. Unlike most animals or insects, the Black Widow is the one who takes firm control of the sexual direction, picking her male mate. And as you see here, amidst actual copulation, she begins to devour her male mate. I tell you what, it doesn't sound all that different from my ex-wife.
God damn it, Jasper!
Stay tuned for more Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks.
I'ma do the things that I wanna do. I ain't got a thing to prove to you. I ain't gonna wear the clothes that you like. I don't give a hoot about what you think.
We're back. Apparently lawyers aren't allowed to dance. It's frowned upon when you're a partner in the company.
Oh, no, I dance just better than that.
Oh, jeez.
Man.
This is the best lawyer there is.
Facebook got to look out for these smackdowns.
And he's a partner. To be fair, Bill Richmond is back, my attorney, with this Facebook situation. To be fair, Bill, I told you knew what you were in for and you saw the ride. You bought a ticket anyway.
Absolutely.
There you go. Not many
hands in the air. Can I put my hands in the air? No hands on this ride?
Yes, there you go. No, and I do appreciate it because, listen, this is a situation where a lot of lawyers just go, well, we're going to represent Facebook. And here's the deal. No one remembers the names of the people who represented, the countless lawyers who represented Facebook and squashed little guys. But if one person makes anything stick or gets something done, they remember that person. And so I do give him credit for being a man of vision. I will say this. I haven't spent a lot of time with him in person. Bill Richmond, when you hear him on the phone, this is not what I pictured.
Hey, I'll tell you, if I can, a real quick story.
Yes.
It's funny when I show up in an interview with the name Bill Richmond, and then I walk in and people are like, I don't think I ordered any lo mein. And I'm like, nah, okay, I'm just going to.
You're far less Jewy than I imagined.
Well, it's fine. Well,
my sister's Jewish. Yeah.
Your sister's Jewish?
Yeah.
She converted?
Made it happen for love.
So she's a half Chinese Jew, or full Chinese Jew.
Half Chinese converted to Judaism, and I'll tell you, don't hold it against her the way that I look because she's smarter and more hardworking and
Good
according
Lord.
to other guys who I'd kick their asses. better looking.
I don't want to hear this from my lawyer. Smarter is one thing, but harder working.
It's like, hey, you hired me, which is great, but this guy over here is way cooler, and
Well, she's not a lawyer.
he'll show up.
No, she's not a lawyer. Well, listen,
Correct.
if she's a half Chinese woman, she doesn't have to be. They're the most beautiful women on the planet. Often, we have people on the show who just that's the only thing that we'll do. Okay, so going back to this, this is where we are. And of course, people are going around there being irresponsible. I just feel like news hosts a lot are irresponsible when they say lawsuit, or they interchangeably, for example, use battery and assault, which happened with the Donald Trump, Corey Lewandowski thing. And it wasn't even necessarily someone who filed a report, but someone misreported it, right? We see that happening all the time.
Yes.
So we've clarified exactly what this is. And like you said before the break, the only other option at this point that we had on the financial side was sit down, take it. They took the money, never let them respond, and it would go to collections like a gym processing fee. We've all had that, right?
Yeah, that's ultimately where they could have taken it, because according to their records, as they've continued to say over and over again, no payments have been made on this account, again, despite the check, despite the fact that they're taking money through another account on the same payment methods.
You've never had this? Have you ever had this before? I mean, I would imagine you deal with these kind of like basic small courts issues all the time, but have you ever had it get to this point with any other company before?
No, I mean, a lot of companies, they'll brush it off, or for example, a lower level person will say, they'll just ignore it because they don't really understand the gravity of the situation. But even here, even our legal requests have come back with, well, you need to talk to legal, and our response is, we've been trying to contact legal and they're ignoring it. So we know that they're getting the requests, and other companies would oftentimes get on the phone, give you a call, send you a letter, even just a letter that says, we don't think there's a problem here.
Right.
But here, there's just no response.
Well, okay, that begs a question from me. Despite ignorance or collusion, whatever the reason is that legal to just not respond to a legal request?
Well, to a request from a lawyer sending a letter, we sent that as a non-legal maneuver. In this particular example, where we have the petition to not answer, it's not illegal in the sense of a crime, but they're once served with the petition, they have an obligation to respond if they want to do anything in the petition itself.
Okay. Well, and again, I want to make sure that people understand we're not suing because, they don't like conservatives. They can do whatever they want, right? The issue with Facebook, and we know this, we've seen this with Twitter, is the social media platform that's most valuable is the one that's most effective, user-friendly, and namely the one that they trust. They're only as valuable as the trust of their users. Now, if they and right now, currently, as of this show, they're swearing up and down that they do not curate, they do not selectively edit or censor, for lack of a better word, any content. They're swearing up and down. Right now, people can go read an article of Mark Zuckerberg on a live mic telling Merkel, we're going to get rid of these anti-immigration stories. So they're swearing up and down they haven't done it, which I think, Bill, I think that's making the situation worse for them, because I have said they have the right and defended their right. But if they're saying that and there is any proof that the public knows, if that happens to be true, or maybe something that perhaps we have experienced, if there is any proof that what they're saying is untrue, that's a real problem.
It does. A big problem. It creates a big problem with, we're selling a product that does a certain thing and is handled in a certain way, and that's the ad services and the users that are ultimately part of it, and in reality is a completely different situation. A lot of the stories these days are in the last few days have said time and time and time again, we use an algorithm, it's completely objective based on the criteria that we put in, don't worry about it, and now apparently there's a lot of questions about that.
Right. Well, and that's for the users, and then of course to the paying advertisers, on which Facebook make billions, I would assume hundreds of billions.
Gosh, so much money.
Where they court advertisers, right? They tell people, you can go right now to Facebook ads. We're the best place, and they give you the pitch why. And that's the one time where you can actually get in contact with somebody when they want you to start advertising, because we are the biggest social media platform. It is an open and free exchange of information. Once you acquire these people, they're your fans. That was another thing people got upset about. You started having to pay to reach your own fans. And that's something that's well documented. It's not a political issue. So if they're saying that and they're courting people and then potentially harming the brand that they're courting to pay them, it would seem to me, regardless of whether it's political or they just don't like your face, that's an issue.
It does create an issue, and it's not something that just strikes one side or the other. I mean, in this particular case, it could go either way. So it's less about which side is being held down or suppressed or targeted, as the article went to list, but what is being sold to these business partners and people who are giving hundreds of thousands of dollars to make this happen. I mean, other small businesses are out there counting on Facebook to allow their posts to go through, and based on a certain understanding of how it works.
Well, I will tell you, and Jared and I, Jared is my producer, he knows this. Any conservatives out there have just said, like, yeah, you can invest this in Facebook and it'll work short term, but part of your business model just has to be it could all go away because Facebook chooses to, and they change their whole way of doing it. That's just the risk people take.
We've had that even just with the algorithms just since last year. We've had a couple of those, like, Facebook changed something. Facebook, you got to readjust everything, and you just never know when that algorithm doesn't include your business.
Right. Well, and we've always come out on top because we've always focused on creating good original content and a user experience. So it's benefited us. I mean, I'm the first to say Facebook has been immensely beneficial to independent voices like myself. I did have one more question, but I forgot what it was. You mentioned something there that was incredibly pertinent, Bill. And here's me with my mush brain after doing 20 shows today. Okay, here's one thing. For people out there, this happens a lot. Facebook will remove posts, and we've had this happen. So this is something, I mean, I don't want to get into Exhibit A through Z, and you know there's more information than we could go through in a lifetime, but if Facebook just removes a post, and they say it's a violation of policy, well, what happens is, right, if we're uploading, let's say, 5-6 posts a day, we can't know which post. They refuse to say which post, and you say, okay, well, which policy? You say, well, we're not going to tell you which policy. In business, doesn't there have to be some semblance of good faith where you can go, hey, man, we're sorry if we violated a policy. We want to work with Facebook, which is what we said. We're really happy to work with you, but could you tell us which post was in violation of which policy? We're not going to tell you which post or which policy. Doesn't that pose a problem?
It does pose a problem. When you look at the terms of service or the other agreements that business users have and that they have when they're submitting this money for ads, there may be some language that deals with that. But ultimately, a lot of states have laws that say you have to have a product be what you have represented it to be. And in these particular cases, again, we're raising a lot of questions based on the article from Gizmodo and those that have come out since then about whether or not the product that is Facebook and what's being, all the money that's going to them for is what they've represented it to be.
Right. And in my case, this is something, too, that I've talked about. We've talked about on the show. I've caught a couple, because every now, I don't know how many posts have been removed. Like you said, someone publicly could have caught this, but I caught 3 and said, hey, this was removed. And they were all put back. They said, oh, sorry, that was an error. But if I wouldn't have caught it, it would have been removed for some arbitrary reason. Maybe someone was offended. And it potentially, depending, can count as a knock against your account, and then your account is gone, into which you invested finances.
Exactly.
Right. So, and that is something that we've experienced. Now, again, I want to be clear. Our motion is, or petition, like you said, I guess some, depending on where you are, is simply to reveal information, right? No financial damages. We're not looking for a specific amount. We still have, to this day, we still don't have the problem remedied, and we're going, why? We need the information to answer why. So if there's nothing going on, it would seem like Facebook should just say, well, okay, well, here's why.
That's the expectation at this point, is that, you know, perhaps you give them the benefit of the doubt that this got stuck in someone's inbox, or some lower level person in their in-house department just didn't catch it. And that's why we've had to escalate it. So ultimately, no, this isn't a request for money. This isn't a request saying, look, we've got, you know, all of these causes of action and we want to go after you and get something out of you besides information. And that's really what the answers that we want from this petition.
Right. And we need this specifically, again, because of the monetary issue. They've taken money, and that is something very tangible. On the flip side, it'd be nice if Facebook did that with very loyal advertisers in good standing who've been in professional relationships with them, where they would just say, hey, yeah, this post violated this policy, or hey, you know what, we just decided that we don't like you. Instead, they just don't contact. They take the money, they take money, they don't contact, and then sometimes people get the boot. What about consistency of policy? If, let's say, for example, maybe Facebook took specific ad money to promote a post. So let's say they took money to promote it because, you know, they did a lot, boost a post. And then that exact same post, they then later said was, oh, it's a violation of policy if, hypothetically, they took money on that specific post. Is that a problem? Or, again, does a business have the right to just change their guidelines at any point, or is there some expectancy of consistency as an investor?
Well, there's agreements that are agreed to between the folks who were sending the money for the ads, the business users, and Facebook. And so to the extent that Facebook is deciding to change those policies, it does have a right to be able to change those policies with a certain amount of notice and that type of thing. And even having language built in that says we have the right to change our mind about how it's going to be done. But again, it gets back to the issue of if you've advertised publicly, setting aside the contract, and you've told other people time and time again, this is how we run our newsfeed, this is how we take money, this is how we apply that money, and then now it's being done differently, that creates an issue aside from the contract.
Well, what they say they don't curate anything, right? That's what they claim. Again, they have the right to. What does a judge do? This is, again, hypothetical. You can tell if you don't want to get into. It's well known. Mark Zuckerberg, right? We wrote about it. Said into a live mic, was caught to Angela Merkel, saying, "Yeah, we're gonna have to do something with these anti-immigration or anti-German government?"
I think it was Muslim immigration with the German government.
Right.
I think anti-Merkel.
Yeah. That's documented. So I would just have to imagine, doesn't someone have to look and say, okay, they're claiming this, unless we have access to all documents, there is an inconsistency with what Mark Zuckerberg himself has said. That's documented. All of this is public.
Right. It's not just Mark, but what other folks are saying in the Facebook hierarchy about it. And in other contexts where they were not under fire, they have made statements about how their algorithms work and how they treat the business users, the ads, the posts, and how those things show on the outside in the newsfeed. And those will be held against them if it turns out that there's some kind of inconsistency there.
There you go. And what we're looking to accomplish right now is get information and resolve the problem as painlessly as possible, correct?
Exactly.
Exactly. Look at him. He's a nice man of Platt, Chima, and Richmond, PLLC. Brian Richmond. He's not delivering your lo mein. Get it right. Brian, thank you. And please come back and set us straight anytime we say something incorrect.
Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian. We'll keep you posted as this story unfolds. Gosh, who knows where it'll go. Louder with Crowder. Stay tuned.
Hey, Steven, what are you doing?
I'm just browsing AR15.com.
You mean the site about the scary black rifle with the best prices, community, and information on the web?
Oh, what the hell's the difference?
AR15.com! Kaboo! AR15.com! Kaboo! AR15.com! Kaboo!
You know, they just heard the 3 takes. You did 3 takes. You didn't edit it. They can hear you.
Kaboo!
Greetings, America. Hopper here. You know, in 2016, Hopper looks around his neighborhood, and sometimes I see other dogs who have more cheeses than the other dogs. And sometimes that dog is Hopper, or sometimes it's even not a dog, it can be a person with no cheeses. Hopper believes America can do better. That is why on a Hopper platform in 2016, it is unacceptable for some Americans to have so many cheeses and others who have so little, especially when there's such a big supply of more than cheeses enough to go around, but not always enough for a Hopper or people who will vote for Hopper. I will release the implementation of this plan in the coming weeks, tentatively titled Trickle Down Cheeses. Stay tuned for my detailed plans on how to deal with the economy and, most importantly, the squirrel problem in America, which has gone on long enough. Show your support with hashtag #FeelTheHopper.
Glad to be back. Feedback on Bill Richmond was pretty positive. People saying, hey, you should bring him on
to talk more
for
stuff.
other legal issues that don't relate to you, because most of these lawyers suck when you tune into cable news. They're awful. Some people still seem to be missing the point and are tweeting that we are filing a lawsuit against Facebook over censorship. For those people, there is no helping you. I do want to let you know, Dave Rubin confirmed will be on in the at the top of the third hour before my wife and her book review. So we're pretty excited about that. And getting word that possibly, though, after that, Mark Zuckerberg may call in. I'm not entirely sure.
Really?
I've heard word on that, but I don't exactly know if that's true or not. So Hopper as well. Feel the Hopper. Hopper's announced his presidential bid. You can tweet us. Let us know what you think. Are we about good, or do you need a little more time?
10 seconds.
Okay, Jared needs 10 seconds. We're going to play a game here because the main story this week has been about Facebook. And by the way, we're bringing on Austin Petersen, Libertarian candidate for president. Send your questions, your Twitter questions. We have a couple that are ready, but send them and we will answer them on air. He is willing to do that as an open form. Twitter at @SCrowder. Send your questions for Austin Petersen. With all of this going on with Facebook, we want to see who has the best intuition, sort of understanding the Facebook algorithms or rules. So
They change all the time.
They change all the time.
Hard to keep up with them.
They change all the time. So it is
Do they
time to
censor the
play
not?
a very new game here at Louder with Crowder.
Which is trending, this or that?
Okay, a little jazzy. I like that. So with this game, Jared has constructed this. I haven't seen these topics yet, but you are going to what? You're going to show me how many topics?
I'm going to give you 4 different topics, and you're supposed to tell me which is trending. Which do you think is most likely to
Are
trend?
we doing just one, though, 2 at a time?
Yeah, so there's 8 altogether. So
2 at a time.
2 at a time.
And
Two
I
at a
have
time.
to figure out which is the actual current trend on Facebook.
On Facebook?
Okay, because it's hard, but this should answer some questions. Okay, so let's go first round. Hit me with the topics. The Affordable Care Act. Recent analysis revealed skyrocketing premiums as well as a catastrophic move toward part-time employment. Well, that seems reasonable. Like that could be trending. So it's either that or hashtag hands up, don't shoot. I'm gonna go with the first one, the Affordable Care Act. I would assume that that's the topic that is trending. It seems more pertinent.
You would think that. I can see where you got there,
Yeah.
but no, hands up, don't shoot
Hands up, don't shoot is the trend.
Yeah, like 6 people. 6 people shared the first one. So
How many shared the second one?
like 13 million, I think.
13 million?
Yeah, and
That's
14, I think now.
That's a pretty big discrepancy. One could almost argue like 14 million to 6 as a ratio.
Those are some crazy odds.
Those are some crazy odds. Okay, let's go. So hit me with 2 more topics.
All
Which
right.
is trending? This Hillary Clinton email scandal. More emails wiped from presidential candidate Hillary Clinton's server, which was illegally hosted from her basement, raising red flags, alarms, and possible FBI indictment. Well, that seems like it could be trending. That seems newsworthy. So
Seems that way.
This
or
hashtag feminist frequency. 3 million shares on that, and only a handful on the Hillary Clinton FBI indictment.
It's weird. It's weird.
I mean, I
There
still
could
want
be
to say
something
Hillary
going on.
Clinton.
Yeah.
What's the real trend?
Feminist frequency.
Hashtag feminist frequency.
That by a landslide.
Maybe in the future I should just go with the hashtag. The ones that have the hashtag in front of it.
They help.
I think I'd be better at this game.
They help.
Okay, well, listen, this is great. So people are learning. If you're trying to get a feel for what would be trending on Facebook right now, this is based on their organic algorithms. So this should give you a better understanding because there is no curation that occurs. We want to make sure, and so we want to play this game fair and square. You can go to Facebook right now, see these trending. So let's go to another one, some more topics. Which is trending? This. New tunnels discovered from Hamas. New tunnels were recently discovered from the terror organization as they dig underneath Israeli cities, including schools, temples, and shopping malls. Well, that's, thoughts and prayers with the children of Israel. That's happened before, and they shut some tunnels down. So
Tragic.
I would assume that's pretty high up on the news feed.
It was competing with this one here.
Hashtag not all Muslims. The share rate seems disproportionate.
It does. 9 million.
You would think that the potential deaths
That's
of
more than a
Israeli
dozen.
children would be more newsworthy.
You know what? We all thought that.
Sometimes we kind of think of ourselves as a little, at the cutting edge, and sometimes you just realize how quickly things change generationally.
They change, and
we just may be a
algorithms
little
change,
out
and
of
it's hard to
touch.
keep up with it. So, yeah.
That's what worries me most is how out of touch we might be. Okay, hit me with it. Which is trending?
Last one here. We got to figure this one out. This.
Baltimore's most violent year. Baltimore experienced its city record with all-time high in both homicides and assaults against police officers. Well, we covered that at louderwithcrowder.com.
We did.
It was pretty shocking. Got an alarming amount of shares. People were concerned about that. I've got to imagine that Baltimore's most violent year on record is newsworthy.
One would think, but according to the trends now, this one. Well, let's see.
Hashtag here's a black guy. That's Sean King.
That is Sean King.
As a black, the hashtag is here's a black guy?
Here's a black guy. I don't know.
I know Facebook is a little later than Twitter sometimes to trend.
It is. Yeah,
so I wonder if they haven't gotten the... Because Sean King's not a black guy.
He's not. We checked.
Facebook, that's not correct. I mean, I know there's no person there, but the Facebook bot, that's not correct. There were a lot of shares in hashtag Sean, this is a black guy.
Surprising. Well,
let me see that. Can you bring that up again?
This one again?
The last one, what was it? This is the one that's trending. You're talking. Hashtag here's a black guy, and that's Sean King. I believe it, but I'm not. I don't have to like it.
You don't have to like it.
All right, submit to us. You guys can submit to us the trending topics for future inputs, future installments of this game. We have gender pronouns is one of our games. Spot the tranny, and of course, which is trending this or that.
Yeah.
Way more games to come.
Which is trending this or that?
How did someone commission Ethel Merman to do our...
I don't know.
And why only the outro?
Why only the outro?
And not the intro?
I think someone hacked us there. I think Hasbro's going to have a hard time selling that game, though. It's not the catchiest of names.
Well, you know what? It could go to Milton Bradley.
This is true.
Everyone knows in the board game community, Milton Bradley is just the rehash of Hasbro at this point. It is hard to know. It is hard, and people are tweeting. Listen, again, we can't reiterate enough. A private business has the right to do whatever they want to do, and curate the news, and that's fine. But they're swearing up and down that they haven't, and they don't have the right to. Well, they have the right, but if they are lying to their users, if they are lying to their advertisers, that's a problem. Facebook claims that they are not. So that is the issue at play, and of course, really for us, it's a billing issue. There's no other way to get this. They have my money, and they claim they don't have my money, and they're going to try and destroy my credit score. That's what this is about, and now the questions are why. So it's a petition for information. Give us the information to figure out how Facebook, one of the world's biggest corporations, has screwed up this badly. Not Gay Jared doesn't screw up this badly. He's fired all the time. Oh my gosh, the hour's almost done. We'll be back. Louder with Crowder. Stay tuned.
This is breaking news on Louder with Crowder. I'm Perry Matheson. We're taken now live to an exclusive interview with El Chapo's lawyer, who has recent grievances that he's made public to the media. Now, you've made it quite clear that you have a problem with El Chapo's recent accommodations.
See, they moved my client into a cell that is not nice.
Now, are you saying that it's not cell number 9?
No, I'm saying that it's not nice. It's very dirty. You know, it's not nice.
I'm still not entirely understanding.
It's not like before when he was in place, he had his cell. It was clean. It was very nice. This place, he has problem with that because it's very not nice.
I don't understand what the number 9 has to do with his cell. Does your client El Chapo have a particular affinity for the number 9?
No, I'm telling you, it's not nice. Okay, we want him to be moved to a nice cell, okay? Because this one is dirty, is ugly, and my client is want a place that's much more nice.
Oh, you mean to say nice?
That's it, we want a place that's more nice.
And you are aware that your client is a serial felon, correct?
Come on.
We'll keep you abreast as this story unfolds on Paramount.
Get excited. Here we go.
Glad to be back. Us and Petersen coming up after the break, running for Libertarian candidate, running for president of the United States. I think it's still a primary for Libertarian, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so too.
Him versus Gary Johnson.
Is it one more in there? I think
there's one more in
more
there. I'm not entirely clear.
No.
But producing with me in studio as always is Not Gay Jared. You can follow him at Not Gay Jared. I fulfill my legal obligations. Draw your own conclusions. And You can read all these stories at louderwithcrowder.com. We have a couple of things to get to here. Do we want to hit the Young Turks situation right off the bat?
We certainly can go there if you'd like to.
We have so many topics to get into. Okay, let me give you a few. Dave Rubin will be on. My wife with a book review. A couple of big stories this week that we may not be able to get to. Bruce Jenner may want to go back. Well, Caitlyn Jenner may want to go back to being Bruce Jenner. The first Muslim Miss USA. Remember all the social justice warriors made a huge to-do about it, converted to Christianity. Now they're pissed. School bans father-daughter dance because they believe it's not inclusive enough. What else do we have here? New York Times admitted that liberals are intolerant. And OSU to launch bias response team.
I saw that, which is hilarious.
In other words, telling people to check their privilege. Another thing, Oregon schools let boys play girls' sports because trannies. So these are important stories to know. If people think, like, listen, the reason we cover all of these stories, this is how far we've gone. If you'd have said 3-4 years ago that the big civil rights struggle was going to be swinging Donagers in the ladies' room, no one would have believed you.
They would have locked you up with where the trainees were.
Right, absolutely. So the reason I say this is because we want to go to something. So here's another story. At Oxford now, students will be allowed, over trigger warnings, to get up and walk out over lectures in what I believe is the law school, if I'm not mistaken. Several subjects, but the one in subject was law school. So you can study to become a lawyer. My guy, Bill Richmond, my lawyer, I can say, well, hey, what about this? I didn't, it was triggering. I left the lecture.
Triggering.
So they are going to be allowed now at Oxford. You don't think Oxford, they're getting things right. Oxford is going to allow students to walk out due to trigger warnings. And I want to preface this. I want to be fair. The Young Turks talked about this. The girl, what's her name? Anna?
Anna.
Is it Anna Kasparian?
Yeah,
is that
I think
her?
so.
Or is that the feminist frequency?
No, I think it's her. Anna Kasparian.
Anna Kasparian said this. She's like, I'm not on board with this. And Cenk went on to say he didn't think that it really was a good idea. But he started off prefacing it with this. Roll clip, not Gage Harris.
Tiny bit more mixed than you are on this. So first, I want to acknowledge why they do it in the first place, right? So it's not out of nowhere.
Yes,
and,
it is.
It's easy for me, who's never been the victim of violent crime, to say, yeah, hey, toughen up, you're a lawyer, get over it, right? But if you were severely assaulted or you were raped, you might have a different view of it. So
who cares?
I don't object as much as other people do to when they say, hey, listen, we're going to now discuss something that involves rape, so just giving you guys a heads up on, okay?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Now,
so he goes and say, now that being said, you shouldn't be able to skip out on class. Here's the thing. So I'm being full disclosure, go watch the clip. He goes on to say that. But every now and then there is something so absurd that you give it no credence. It shouldn't be treated as legitimate. You can let them say it, and I go, no. You can let them make the case, and I don't have to. Now, I have the luxury. I'm not employed by anybody aside from myself. I can say whatever I want. I don't have to play that game and say, well, what about trigger warnings at law? I can just go, no, no. No.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when I was, homeschooled, first grade. There were some problems in my textbook I did not like. I guess in today's terms, you would say it triggered me. I found out my magic eraser, I could erase the problems, so I didn't have to do them because I was so triggered. Again, to use today's lingo.
Right.
And so, consequently, times tables are a little rough for me. But my mom never caught on the fact that I was erasing my problems from my book. There'd just be like a half sheet of the no problems. I'd be like, oh, I did the first 3. That's all there was. That's weird. Short lesson today.
You should have been triggered by the fact that they put you under the stairs in a Harry Potter lesson. The least of your problems was long division, but this explains so much.
The cameo in Captain America didn't help.
Nigel will come to me for his pay stub like 6 days early, and it's double the amount. What? Well, I did the math. I must have forgotten to carry the 1. No, that's not what it is.
These are dates we're working with.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So here's the deal with the Young Turks. Here's the thing that you need to understand. So no, give it no credence. You don't get to put this Jack back in the box. Or Charlie back in the box. Remember that guy in Rudolph? Change your name, Charlie.
They're the worst.
Change it to Jack. Problem solved. My Island of Misfit Toys. It was Hitler for toys. Auschwitz for toys. You don't get to put it back in the box. You don't get to accuse all opposition of racism, homophobia, transgenderism, sexism, rape culture, cultural appropriation, and talk about trigger warnings and then say, but this is too far. You don't get to do it. You don't get to say that a guy going into a ladies' restroom with a swinging pecker is a civil right, and then say, but you know what, no, but this is getting to be a little too much. Just like Chris Rock can't go out and lie and say that only black kids are getting shot when more white kids are shot by cops, and there's more likelihood of white kids getting shot by cops. That's a fact. We wrote about it at louderwithcrowder.com. Chris Rock can't go out and do that. Sarah Silverman can't say, you shouldn't say that's gay, and then they bitch about political correctness on college campuses. You can't do that. You can't go along the trail and... This is the monster that you have created. And this is why the Young Turks is struggling so much. Because I tell you what, listen, everyone hated me, as they should. I was out there on YouTube for a long time before any other conservatives went on there, and they were always going, Young Turks, Young Turks, Young Turks, TYT for life. And now they've turned on them. So you've raised this generation of coddled little wussies with a capital P, and now a few of them have taken the red pill, so to speak, and they're going, this is absurd, we've gone too far. Well, it's gone too far because you're the ones who allowed it to go far enough, and you're still doing it right here. We're talking about one of the world's most prestigious universities, allowing students to walk out due to something that's triggering. Something that, by the way, if you've ever watched Braveheart, you would have encountered. What kind of a sheltered life are you living? Where you're going to go into criminal law. I think criminal law is mandatory even if you're not going into criminal law. And I don't want to deal with that. It's triggering. These people could be defending you or prosecuting someone.
They can't defend themselves, their own ideas. I don't know how it's supposed to work.
Imagine being there, wrongly accused of rape, wrongly accused of murder, and your lawyer goes, I don't know what to do. And you say, what about Statute 42? What? What about Statute 42? Page turn, page turn, page turn. Oh, yeah, I guess that could apply. What were you doing? It was triggering. There was something in there about soda pop, and I'm allergic to corn syrup. You dick. I wasn't supposed to be in that lecture. And now you're, well, listen, you know what? Maybe you didn't do but maybe you should go to prison to learn. You just triggered me again. I'm having flashbacks of Dr. Pepper. Everything at some point is triggering now. And it sounds absurd. It sounds so absurd, but here's the thing. We're not making it up. People used to accuse me of building up straw men. Trigglypuff would be a straw man. A fat, giant, gelatinous orb smashing a scale, blaming life's problems, wheezing for subsequently 14 more minutes would have been considered to be a straw man. But it's not. It's not a straw man because of the Young Turks, because of MSNBC, because of the left, because of people at CNN.
1 second. Yeah,
she's still going?
She's still going. Surprising, but yeah, she's
Is
still
someone
going.
keeping an eye on her?
I don't think she has.
She might need a physician. She probably has had an aversion to them for so long.
I think so.
What do you tell, that's a question for me too. What do you tell a doctor, right? This whole fat pride movement. What do you tell a doctor when they say, oh my God, what are you doing to yourself? Look at your cholesterol numbers. Look, you're unhealthy. Well, health is just a state of mind. No, you're going to die.
You're
physically.
How would I have?
Did you just burp into the microphone?
No, should I have?
I think you did.
No.
I think you did. I just heard that. Tweet me at as Crowder. Did you hear that?
I didn't hear that.
Are you actually being honest, or are you trying to save face?
Honestly, I have no idea. Never heard that.
You are everything that's gone wrong in this world.
That's fair.
You're self-consumed, no talent, mediocre piece of shit.
I had that coming too.
You did. What do you say to a doctor? You want to know who the most is? If transgenderism is a civil right, like the Young Turks claim, right? Well, and it's not that far of a stretch to say, well, a basic civil right, a basic human right is to not be offended in college. Well, how do you justify that? I have a penis, I get to go in a ladies' room, that's a civil right, so that seems logical to not be offended. Yeah. When you keep on going down that trail, when there's no framework whatsoever as to what a right is. And that's why, listen, we've talked about it, and yet you have people who like Donald Trump, and they say principled conservatism is dead. It's not, and I'll talk about that afterward, because I agree with the Trump people certainly a lot. I understand the idea of communication and packaging, and conservatives have never had that, really, since Reagan, and have never done it effectively. Not never, since Reagan, at least, have never really had the platform, and they've done a horrible job, and I'm with people on that. Whether people like to hear it or not, we'll talk about that. But the reason that it matters is because those same principles, you can call it conservatism, you can call it constitutionalism, are what frame in exactly what a right is and what a right is not. You know it. There's no guesswork. Dude in a chick's room? No, that's not a human right. Wedding cake with two schlongs? Sword fighting? No, that's not a human right. Not being offended in school? No, that's not a human right. Whereas to the Young Turks, to populists, to leftists, you ask them the question, they go, well, let's entertain that. Let's have an interesting philosophical discussion. Sometimes you don't get to. Sometimes you don't have to.
Second Amendment is up for question.
Second Amendment is up for question,
discussion.
according to Hillary Clinton. Sometimes there doesn't. Listen, anyone can come onto this program. Not every single person with 2 followers and a message board and an egg as an icon. We've had leftists. We'll have lovely homosexual Dave Rubin, who's a liberal atheist afterward. But not every subject is as legitimate, or every opinion is as legitimate. That's okay to say, no, that's not legitimate. You're triggered, leave. You shouldn't be practicing law. Is Austin Petersen coming on next?
Segment after next.
Segment, oh, that's right, he's coming up at the half hour.
Yep.
Oh, okay, so good. So then we can talk about conservatism and packaging. And Louder with Crowder, stay tuned.
Welcome to Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks. The lion, king of the jungle. An inspiration to many tales both young and old, the lion inspires power and fear in the hearts of those who see it. Here we see the lion in its natural mating habitat. Oh boy, look at that. That lion is hung like, well, a lion, I guess.
God damn it, Jasper.
What? I'm ad-libbing here. You know, I'm giving it my own spin for the viewer.
Stick to the script. You can't talk about lion Jasper.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe we should change that. Stay tuned for more Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks.
One of our few rock songs. By the way,
it was a good time.
All the songs that people like out there, Pogo, search them on YouTube, that you hear during the breaks. Did you get new breaks for today?
We did. We got some new Pogo in there.
I didn't hear them yet.
Oh, they haven't come up yet.
Oh, okay. And a Psychotic Giraffe. So, thank you. Are we playing the Trigglypuff song at any break?
We can if you want to.
Let's put it in before Austin. So maybe you do that while I'm doing this so it gives us a little extra time because we want to make sure he has his best.
And because it's that good.
Yes, we did. We did a Trigglypuff remix. I'm incredibly proud. By the way, I do want to give an actual shout out to Jared. This is a rarity because
hold on, make sure we're recording this for sure.
No. And he should be fired and he deserves to if not for this. I mean, he's got me by the short and curlies. So legally I'm not allowed to discuss it, but he should be fired. But every now and then he gets something right. And the Trigglypuff video, he edited that. Most of that was his initiative. You know, the song was my idea, and I directed the song musically. Jared edited the video. Aside from a few ideas of mine, it was all from his disturbed mind. And the reason I give him such a hard time sometimes is because I know when you see brilliant stuff, how capable he is. But every now and then he just sits on the pot and doesn't do any work. So
it's fun. Paid to poop. Paid to poop.
Don't say that on air. Isn't it funny? You can't say that. You can say the other stuff I said, but you can't say.
So people think I'm just an awful, like, cussing sailor. Because I have to bleep that for radio.
We have to bleep it for radio.
Yeah.
Syndicated on radio. By the way, thank you again to KNEZ 107.3 FM carrying us in Nevada. Send your questions to @SCrowder. We'll be reading them live for Austin Petersen. Here's one thing for the Never Trump crew. The cruise people. You know that I have been a conservative for very long. One thing I find funny is when all these Trump people go, well, where were you during Barack Obama? Okay. It's a really, one thing, you know, for better or worse, my history is very easily searchable. That being said, Cruz lost by a landslide. It wasn't even close. Now, so you need to accept that. And that's one thing. That's why I said, well, why are you not the Never Trump hashtag? Because some people I see there who are spearheading it, unfortunately, are delusional. And think, well, Cruz would have won if this. No, you need to acknowledge reality. He lost by a landslide. people don't want that. Now, that being said, my greatest criticism of conservatism, constitutionalism, anti-authoritarianism, whatever you want to call it, is the messaging. It's always been the packaging. And I will give this to Donald Trump. Donald Trump has won on messaging and communication by a very significant margin. Now, that's just reality. What is he communicating? Sometimes he doesn't know. You've seen him switch, whether you like him or not. People who like him don't care that he switches positions. That's fine. I'm not talking about Trump as a candidate. I'm giving him praise here for a technique. Like taking your favorite athlete and saying, gosh, maybe I don't like him as a person. Maybe I don't think he should be a captain, but he is great at handling the puck. Donald Trump is great at communicating. Now, nobody on a national platform in our lifetime has communicated conservatism effectively yet. Donald Trump is communicating his brand of politics very effectively. Conservatism, constitutionalism hasn't been effectively communicated. So let's contrast Trump's ability to cut through media with, I don't know, say previous candidates. John McCain, Mitt Romney, Ted Cruz. They suck at messaging. Now, some of you agree with the principles, as do I. I agree with the principles of limited government, of constitutionalism, but don't delude yourselves into thinking that that's all that really matters now. It's not. Now, silly, I know that I just think if Trump were an actual conservative, if Trump was bold and if he were politically incorrect and he were fighting back and he were a constitutionalist, I think he would just as easily get people on board with that message. If you look at the one thing that Donald Trump has really gained a lot of support, strong borders, building a wall, cracking down on the problem, that is perfectly in line with traditional conservatism. There's nothing about that people like me disagree with. I've never berated Donald Trump for being racist for wanting to build a wall. We had my mother on this show who can't stand him but said, well, that seems entirely reasonable. People would eat it up just as readily because Donald Trump is able to communicate. He's the right communicator at this time. So it's the packaging, it's the messaging that's the problem with conservatism. It has been for a while. If you talk to people about the Second Amendment, it's a winning issue. You talk to them about free speech, it's a winning issue. You talk to them about strong borders, it's a winning issue. You talk to them about Islamic terrorism, it's a winning issue. If you talk to them about feminism and radical social justice warriors, it's a winning issue. But a lot of them don't understand that that's always been a part of the prism of constitutional conservatism. And so people who would go, oh, you know, I used to think I was a liberal, but trigger warnings, anti-free speech. Okay.
You know, my grandmother was like that. My grandmother, like lifetime Democrat,
right,
is feeling that way. She's looking at it, she's like, I don't line up with this stuff. She would probably be more aligned with Christina Hoff Sommers in that way. Kind of feel like,
right,
you know, the liberals.
Although Christina Hoff Sommers is pro-abortion.
Oh, well, so is my grandma, I think.
Oh, really?
But
you're still here.
I'm still here. For better or worse. Mostly worse.
Someday someone's going to invent a time machine. They're going to pay your grandma a visit with a coat hanger. It's that, do you kill baby Hitler or do you not?
I wouldn't put it past them, and I wouldn't begrudge them for it.
The point is, I think if Donald Trump were out there doing his shtick, and at the base of it was something that I agreed with, or something that really would, I just wish if I heard Donald Trump reference the Constitution and truly say, listen, this is the role of the federal government. This is why we have problems. It's not been limited. We need to rein it in. I believe in a constitutionally limited government, not, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I would be on board. And if I see him do that and we see a major change, I reserve the right to change my mind. Or if he surrounds himself with people like that. My point is he's a very effective communicator. And conservatives thinking, well, just the principles are all that matter. No, it doesn't. And those principles are good for people. The ideas of limited government. People inherently will like them if they have it communicated to them, but they don't. Listen, we do pretty well. We're a moderately successful podcast. I'm incredibly grateful. But why were we targeted with Facebook when you see this information released alongside Drudge Report, Ted Cruz, was it Chris Kyle, is this huge Oscar-nominated film about him?
Yep.
And a guy in his den with a not gay host. It's because we are trying to get this. We constantly communicate. We go into the leftist backyard. We don't kick the bee's nest. We don't kick the hornet's nest. We go in, smash it, eat the royal jelly. We're swatting down the queen bee, and all the while we find out we're like Macaulay Culkin and My Girl, and we're allergic to bees.
No one but you watched that movie.
Oh, everyone watched that movie. The point is that's the messaging, and Fox News and cable news and AM radio and all the clickbait conservative websites right now, they jockey for that 72-year-old median demo. That's the actual demo for many of these places, and their ad dollars. And so there's only one way in which they can communicate. And it's only going to get worse. And unless this changes, I see conservatism imploding. But thinking that it's going to rise up as a phoenix from the ashes just based on principle when you haven't changed your method of communication, is delusional, and I'm not hearing that from a lot of people. Not hearing that regret. Austin Petersen, send your questions after this break.
Get triggered.
Dear Brandon's monster! Is he gonna check his privilege?
That's not going to happen. Listen. Listen. Nobody here wants to hear your opinion. Here's what's so crazy. You're not fighting for rights. You're fighting for the right to be a pussy and have your opinion that you don't like.
Is he gonna check his privilege? Is he gonna check his privilege?
That's not going to happen.
It's Jigglypuff.
This is breaking news on Water with Crowder. I'm Perry Matheson. We're taking out a breaking story. We're getting exclusive word that El Chapo, notorious drug dealer, is at large and has once more escaped. We'll keep you abreast as this story unfolds. For Water with Crowder, I'm Perry Matheson.
Oh, hey, Lyle. Didn't see you there. What are you doing?
Hey, I'm just relaxing and enjoying my 1978 Bordeaux, a fine beverage.
So you're gonna see him on Friday?
Racquetball at Wimbledon.
Friday.
Quality establishment.
Wait, what's running
Wimbledon,
right
you
now?
know.
We have
That
how
sounds
long is
fun.
this?
I don't really know a whole lot about
we got
wine.
like
That's why I go to simplifiedwine.com.
45 seconds.
Or I just call their number.
So what's that
What's
make it for you? You've
number,
seen
Jared?
844-297-WINE.
Oh, where did
Five.
he come from?
Five
His
now.
voice aggravates
What, that
me.
I
one?
have them
It's pretty
changed to a
serious.
caravan. For simpletons
You gotta lock
like
something
me
like
who
that
don't know a
down
whole
if
lot
you
about
think you
wine,
keep
just
going.
what I
That's
like.
what family keeps
It
telling me.
makes it easy. I either get to call,
But,
go to the website, talk with a
I don't know.
sommelier,
I don't know. We'll see.
list what I like, what I don't like. My
Personal
budget,
trainers
I
are
can have
pretty
it shipped
expensive,
directly to my
especially
door,
this side of town.
or
So
gift
I mean,
wrapping
it's
sent
just
to a
finding the right
friend.
one
It
is
doesn't get any
difficult.
simpler than that.
Simplified
tough.
wine,
You don't
you
know.
say.
You don't know.
I prefer more of a barrier to entry.
Sounds like you got
I
a
know
special
you do,
guy.
Lyle, but you're an elitist bastard. That's why for simpletons like me, I prefer simplifiedwine.com or just calling 844-297-WINE. All right, glad to bring on our next guest. By the way, rumor, not sure, can't confirm, Mark Zuckerberg just posted something on Facebook, and he might be trying to call into the show.
I heard that too.
So, well, we don't want to ruin this
It's hard to
for
say
our next guest.
if it's really happy or not.
We have your questions. So we had him on before. One quick disclosure here. I'm not bringing him back on because I'm endorsing him. I don't endorse anybody for presidency. I'm bringing him back on because people wanted to ask him a bunch of questions when he was on relatively recently, and he was such a good sport about it. So running for president of the United States under the Libertarian banner, Austin Petersen, thanks for being back with us, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Steven.
Oh, geez, the internet now you're looking like you're in Jeffrey Dahmer's basement. But as long as we can hear you, what's the best place for people to go to find you again online?
Right. So if you want to find out more about me, just go to austinforpresident.com.
austinforpresident.com. Okay, and you're ready. We're just gonna field some questions for you. Okay, we have some questions here. Keep sending them on the Twitter at @scrowder. First one, someone asked, who do you consider to be your biggest political influence from history? Their guess was Jefferson, not to lead you.
Actually, Thomas Paine, the guy who wrote Common Sense and The Age of Reason. He was kind of the instigator, a bit of an agitator, and that's kind of what I consider myself. You know, I go out on the internet and I kind of make trouble for big government types and statists and educate people about ideas and tell people why I think we need a revolution for more free markets. So, yeah, probably Thomas Paine.
Okay, there you go. That's an easy one. Someone asked, this is a totally leading question. It's not my question. They said, how will you repeal NFA? So the question from me, obviously, is will you repeal NFA? If so, how?
Yeah, so the National Firearms Act forces us to pay $200 and register with the ATF to put a suppressor on the end of our AR-15s, which I think is ridiculous. But you have to ask Congress to do that. You know, the president isn't a dictator, but I would ask them to do so, and if so, I would sign it. I mean, we have a right to bear arms in this country, and I get sick and tired of people who think that, who are so uneducated, and they're the people who set policy on gun control. You know,
right.
Like a 25 ammo clip ghost gun. You know, these are the people writing laws.
Right. Yeah, I know, and it's one of those things. You know, this mental health issue is such a Trojan horse, and people. It sounds so sensible, right? Oh, mental health. No one who's okay. Do you have a therapy dog?
Yeah. Well, can I tell you a story on that real quick? Can I tell you a story on that real quick?
Yes.
All right. So we had a debate on Stossel, and Gary Johnson and I were talking about the gun issue.
Is this the one where he got bitchy and he got really mad?
Yeah, he got really bitchy.
I did. I watched it. He gets like flippant. Literally, there's no other way to say it. I'm not calling him the B word. I'm saying he gets bitchy when he gets mad. Sorry, but continue. It's funny.
He's very mad at me, but he was talking about we need to have a discussion about mental health restrictions on background checks for guns, and what you didn't see was that in the commercial break there was a veteran who had PTSD who said that the government wanted to take his guns, and you know, they're trying to pass legislation to take away guns from veterans who suffer from PTSD. And obviously, you know, there was a bad situation that happened with Chris Kyle, with somebody who was troubled. But you have to have due process in order to take away an enumerated right. And obviously, PTSD is not a mental illness; it's a mental affliction, and there's a big difference. In New York, if you go and you see a psychiatrist can say, okay, well, we're going to go ahead and write a bill. We're going to go ahead and write to the legislator and make sure that your guns are taken away. And that's not due process.
No.
You have to be convicted in a court of law in order to have rights taken away.
Exactly. That's one thing I think people don't understand exactly what a right is. The right to own a firearm, that's a right. Using whatever toilet you want in any business, not necessarily a right. That's a good...
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Yeah, can I say something too? This is really important because this is what, like when we're debating with Bernie people and we're talking about rights, like what is a right? The issue of the right to bear arms. So even if you're a liberal who says, okay, yeah, you have a right to bear arms, they might say, okay, well, you have a right to health care, which is something you have to, that must be provided.
Right.
And I think the problem with like liberal support thinkers is that they think, well, a right, well, that means it absolutely has to be given to you. The government has to give it to you. Well, if that was the case, how come the government doesn't have to give us a gun? Right. And so when you start to talk about that with a liberal, then you're going to introduce in the concept of negative rights, and you might convert a Bernie Sanders supporter to a libertarian if you can get them to logic that hard.
That's a good argument. Why, since it's one of those that is enumerated, the right to bear arms, and health care is not. If they want to say, well, it should be provided because it's a basic right, then the government should provide a gun. I wouldn't trust the government's gun.
Like
I would bet it have an electric lock where it's like, oh my gosh, the IRS is coming to the door and gun deactivated.
Yep. Kind of like talk about water the same way.
Yeah, water. If it's healthcare, why not water? Why not food? Why not houses? And by the way, I don't mean the right to drink water. I mean completely purified, sanitized, chlorinated, piped to your house water. Everything that you need to sustain yourself. Love. How do we not declare that to be a right? And that's what I was talking about. Principled constitutionalism, conservatism. I know you're a libertarian. That's the framework. And unless you have it, you can't bitch when somebody else says, well, this is a right, and you go, well, that's absurd. That's going too far.
Right. And it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You have to pursue happiness. No one can give that to you, and happiness is subjective. So the question is like, you know, when you have a constitution of enumerated rights, you know, what do the rights mean? So I like to talk about the 9th Amendment. So that's something I talk about a lot on the campaign trail, because most people assume that there's only like maybe 4 or 5 amendments, and they don't know what the last 2 are. But the 10th Amendment, of course, is the one that secures the powers to the states, everything that's not written down for the feds. But the 9th Amendment secures all of our liberties that exist that couldn't have been written down in the Constitution. So basically, if something is not outlawed, specifically outlawed in the United States, it's supposed to be permitted. Except now we have all of these regulations like licensing laws where you need to have a license to braid hair. And to me, I think that the 9th Amendment, if we did what we did with the 2nd Amendment, where we incorporated the 9th Amendment into the states, for example, like we do using the incorporation doctrine, then perhaps we might be able to use that to get rid of occupational licensing. And there are a lot of libertarian lawyers out there, like the Institute for Justice, that do things like that.
Well, I have a question about that. So obviously we can use the absurd example, like braiding, but what about like health codes? Okay, so we're talking about the 9th Amendment. Like, one time I stopped going to a breakfast place in L.A. because it went from a B, which I thought was fine, which apparently actually is really bad, to a C, and that's like taking your life in your hands. So what about something like that where the health of the public is at risk? Could someone argue, well, that needs to be somehow monitored or regulated so people don't die from E. coli or C. diff?
Yeah, I'm reminded of good old Ron Swanson, who said that capitalism determines who is smart and who is poor. But I don't take that much of a hard line to it. But a lot of times there are unintended consequences to health regulations, and usually they're sold to us as if this is for our public good. And the problem is that when you have a one-size-fits-all bureaucracy in charge of your health, then you tend to sometimes make mistakes.
It's like a one-size-fits-all condom. It's not the best idea.
Not a good idea. Actually, libertarians argue that if we didn't have a forced bureaucracy mandating certain types of health codes, that you would have competing agencies working to regulate foods and to say, hey, you don't like this restaurant, well then we've got Zagat and all these other people who are rating it. And people actually do take a very keen interest in their food. Not everybody's stupid. And of course, like from a moral perspective, the health code, one-size-fits-all health code is paternalistic by saying that people are too dumb, so we need to take care of them, have the government do it. That's why we need Social Security.
I agree with you.
You're too stupid.
Except when it comes to Chinese restaurants. I have had so many of those places just shut down time and time again. This one place where I grew up on the South Shore, it turns out they were actually they were killing seagulls, pigeons.
Okay, but they were doing that under the current system. They were doing it under the current
This is in
regulatory
Canada.
system.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was in Canada. But they actually found out because these were first-generation immigrants. They're just on the roof. I swear to you, this is true. I don't want to use the name because they changed it, so I don't want to be legally liable. But they were just going like, oh, there's free food everywhere, American. And they found out they were feeding seagulls. They just changed the name, same people. Restaurant's still there. In Brossard, people will know what I'm talking about who are from there.
Seagull young fool.
So I agree with you. I agree with you. Sorry, I don't want this to go on your highlight reel and you get in trouble. But at some point, isn't it a risk to use human guinea pigs off the bat? Because the only way you find out is if something's gone wrong.
Yeah, I get in trouble because I like to quote Jefferson when he says that I would rather be exposed to the inconveniences of too much liberty than of too little. So yeah,
have you ever had C. diff?
Yeah. I'm just gonna say that like your stomach upset because you didn't do your research is probably worth it to me to not have to pay taxes to take care of you because you can't take care of yourself.
Well, that seems very cold-hearted.
It is.
Especially considering that Not Gay Jerry was just in a hospital getting 5 units of blood.
I lost my vote.
Lost his vote. Oh my God. How long do we have, Not Gay Jerry? Because I have so many.
4 minutes.
We have 4 minutes. Okay, so we have questions lighting up here. Thanks for coming back on the show, Austin. Where can I get a Light with Credit t-shirt? No, stop it. People are. Oh, someone is asking. This is Chris Bretman. Austin, how would you handle immigration? That's a hot button issue. So I know it's kind of general. Do you need anything more specific, or you want to just take the ball and run with it?
No. So there's two approaches. One is I have to obey the law, obey the Constitution, and do what the law says, which
Real quick,
I absolutely
1 second.
do.
That is pivotal for me. This is the only person out there right now who has not said, I'm just going to do it. They can't do it. If they're president, they shouldn't want to be able to, with a stroke of a pen, do it. I dig that about you, Austin. Sorry, continue. Compliment.
Yeah, and I want to, say, hey, don't turn into Paul Ryan here and start caving on Trump because he starts saying, oh, he's going to listen to this. He's going to say, Stephen, if I just talk about the Constitution, maybe people like Stephen Crowder are going to get behind me. So don't believe the hype. But no, when it comes to immigration, obviously the first thing that I have to do is obey the Constitution and make sure that everything is in accordance with the law. But from my heart of hearts, in my ideal world, and from my studies of economics, I do believe that a free market in immigration is a net benefit to the citizens of the United States. Milton Friedman actually favored illegal immigration if they come here and they get a fake Social Security number, then they pay into the system, but they're not eligible to receive benefits. But even if they receive benefits, the truth is that labor being a form of wealth, the immigrants, whether they're illegal or not, they do have a net economic benefit. That's just the facts. There's the cultural issue. That's really what we got to talk about, because I think people worry about there's no cultural cohesiveness, because if you're a Muslim and you come to Dearborn, Michigan, you don't integrate into society, you want to try and have Sharia courts, et cetera, et cetera. And that's kind of what conservatives like to talk about. But don't forget, we have Amish in this country. We have Mormons in this country. We have Hasidic Jews in this country who have insular communities. But I think that's kind of what makes America cool, is that you have all these different cultures who are allowed to be insular, and as long as they they're operating in a constitutional system, then they ought to be able to have that right to do so. So that I know, man. Sorry.
No, but culturally, no. I think you're mostly right. I agree. Listen, let me give you an example. My mom is a French Canadian immigrant. But she came here, she learned the language, she went through the process, and she has the lowest tolerance for people who don't. For people who come in here, don't learn the language, are watching Telemundo, and they're selling cars with fake rubber tits on their infomercials. Everyone's seen how they sell cars in Texas. It's, buy this car, yeah. It's just boobs on there. It's a cultural thing. So, but that being said, there's a huge difference coming from an actual multiculturalist society and a melting pot society. You need to come here and be American first and everything else second. And with Islam, obviously, there's a court issue, Sharia court. We would both agree on that.
The thing is that I think that it betrays a lack of trust in our American constitutional system to worry about that, because, I mean, first of all, turn
it's
left,
happening,
turn right.
though.
But there's an American flag everywhere you look. Nationalism in the United States is so strong that there is absolutely no culture that could come here that could possibly supersede our constitutional system and the God bless America forces that this country holds. The thing is that
disagree.
Oh, come on, man. Are you telling me that you are worried that people are going to come here and they're going to try and overthrow our system of constitutional representative republic?
Yes.
Oh, come on. Well, you know what? If I was a politician, if I was a real politician, I would say that, because you know what? That kind of fear-mongering would get me votes.
Oh, I'm not fear-mongering. I'm not fear-mongering.
Well,
you asked me a question.
Okay, but that sells. Okay, what I'm selling right now, it ain't popular, because, and you know what?
I respect that. I do respect that. Well, we have to bring you back. We have to go to a break. Right. I want to bring you back because, again, it's fair to keep going on this issue.
Don't get Zuckerberg. And hey, you're hot on this topic. And I said this was happening 2 years ago, and you're totally right.
No, we're going to bring you back. Can you come back or no?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, come back. Okay, Austin Petersen, Louder with Crowder. Stay tuned.
Greetings, America. Future presidential candidate Hopper here. You know, it's one thing for candidates to go up and promise things like cheeses and equality. It's another to deal with a problem plaguing America that nobody wants to talk about, but everyone knows is there. I am speaking, of course, of our most sinister problem, that of the current squirrel infestation. You know of whom I speak. These squirrels are in your trees. They're in your yards. They're in your schools. They run your banks. And they have taken advantage of a system that has afforded them the luxury for far too long. It is time to build a wall to protect America from this threat of squirrels. And even more, that wall will be electrical so that any squirrel that comes in or out of a Hopper America will find themselves fried with their own cheeses. Stay tuned for more details regarding my in-depth policy on dealing with what has been America's greatest scourge for long enough. It is time to make a change. Show your support with hashtag #FieldAHopper.
We will party hard.
All right, glad to be back. We have a lovely guest. Of course, she's running for president of the United States Libertarian Party.
No big deal.
No big deal. I feel like it was a conflict of interest. Sorry, Austin Petersen. Sorry you were sandwiched between the Hopper for President commercial. We didn't mean to undercut you.
Yeah, well, at least I get equal time.
Yes, exactly.
And if you're looking for VP options.
I hate to tell you, a lot of people were not thrilled with the immigration issue. So I think we should stick on that for a bit, just so you're able to provide full context. To answer your question, I am concerned with that because I've experienced it. I mean, I've lived it. We've seen that in Canada with Quebec as a good example, right? Quebec is a conquered French people in Canada, an English country, who should have been told, you're speaking English, period. You're now part of an English country, and they didn't. They allowed them to create this language police. They try and separate. And now if I want to open Stevens Diner 'S, the diner can be fined out of existence because of this multiculturalist BS. That's why you're an American first. You speak the language. You come here and you become a part of the country. That's part of the naturalization process, as opposed to bringing the culture that you left. So I do think culturally there are issues.
I'm gonna get your audience to turn on you right now. Where do you stand on Texas? Where do you stand on Texas secession?
I don't really think about it.
Oh, so are you against it?
Well, I don't think it'd be a good idea to secede. But do they have the right to if they go through the process? Let's say sure.
Okay, all right. Well, you better say sure, because I know your conservative audience will
yeah, they do. But I'm not saying I'm not championing for them to succeed.
No, I know, but the thing is that again, peaceful people ought to be able to create their own little microcultures. A little bit of laboratory of democracy. That's what makes it great. And the idea is that you're trying to force culture to exist. You're trying to stand with, like what conservatives do. They stand with history and say stop, and the progress occurs.
No. Constitutionalism is the culture, and these people don't respect a constitutionalist culture. That's an issue. It can't exist without a melting pot culture.
Sure.
It can't. The United States can't exist under multiculturalism. I think we both agree on a melting pot over multiculturalism.
Right, but I reserve the right to revolution if this constitutional government ever becomes tyrannical. The Constitution doesn't have to be perpetual for all time, because again, we might list the reasons that would compel us for separation if it ever does become tyrannical. We've got to maintain that, because it's not about the Constitution. You realize the Constitution is about individual rights, and individual rights precede the Constitution. The Constitution is not a holy document.
Right. But one thing real quick.
How do we protect individual rights?
Yes, I do think it's important. The French government, the reason I use that as an example is because they want to separate in order to in order to supersede individual rights. You can't open an English business.
Right. Okay.
You can't speak. They thought I was learning disabled because I had to go to all French schools just because my mom was Canadian, not even regardless of even if she's English and born in Quebec. So that's why. That's the issue, and that's because of multiculturalism, a culture that didn't really respect individual rights, that was allowed to create a microcosm and thrive, and then threatening to separate to strip people of their rights. So I think we can both agree that's a problem, and that needs to be nipped in the bud. And that's where the culture no, you're in line with these laws. No Sharia courts. You come in and you're a tax-paying citizen, and we don't care how you want the culture to be. These are the rights afforded to all people.
Right. Very rarely do people secede in order to create a smaller government than the one that they're seceding away from. But in terms of economics, I know that this is not popular, but all of the free market economists argue that immigration is a net benefit to society. And I mean, read Milton Friedman, read Thomas Sowell, read Walter Williams. These are the guys that conservatives are getting their ideas from, and yet they all disagree with the mass populist movement of conservatives. I don't understand why you guys can't.
We're starting to lose him. Can you bring up his volume a little bit, Jared?
Yeah, it's not fun. Hey, Austin, why don't you shut off your video? Why don't you turn your video off? We'll just do audio. It might work a little better.
My apologies. Is he still there?
No. Can you hear me now?
We can kind of hear.
Yeah,
I promise you, we're not trying to cut you off because of a disagreement. You're coming in all garbled. So,
I apologize. Can you hear me now?
We can barely hear you. You look like you might be in a Marriott or something. So I know how that is.
Yeah, it is actually, and so I apologize for the quality to defunctness here. But
you should apologize. This is going to severely hurt your presidential bid with your Wi-Fi.
Anyways. Hey, listen, free markets, okay? The immigration policy is all about free markets, and I'm telling you that if you're worried about cultural cohesiveness, that's a separate argument.
Sure.
But if you're talking about an economic benefit to the United States, no doubt, undeniably, all the free market economists say that the United States benefits from it. I want to go back to Ellis Island. Security check, disease check, done. That's what it should be. 25 years to become a citizen of the United States is egregious. That's why we have so much illegal immigration. You want to incentivize people to obey the law. That's what you want.
Yes. Yeah. Speaking of, well, not gay Jared wants to go back to Fire Island. It was the time of his life. As it comes to that, first off, I don't buy the 25 years, especially coming from a mother of immigrants, and that's I hate to call you on it, but not all economists agree on that. What do you say to people like my mom? What do you say to people like my mom who came here legally, who paid taxes, who came through the process, who work hard, to giving a pass to people who snuck in, who didn't go through the process? What do you say to those people? Because that's a big voting block that's left out in the wind if you just give a pass to people who broke the law to come here.
Well, they shouldn't be angry at the people who broke the law to come here. They should be angry at the government that made it so difficult for them and all the hoops that they came through. So here's the question. If you go to Walmart and you buy an eraser, and you buy an eraser and you get it for $1, and if somebody comes along and buys the same eraser the next day for 50 cents, you go back to the store and you say, okay, I want 50 cents, and usually the store will give it back to you. But the government can't give you back the time and the energy that it took for you to get here to become a citizen. It just doesn't work like that. But again, the problem is not the person who...
Yeah, but they're not mad at the government. My mom doesn't think it was too hard or too long to become a citizen because she comes from a place like, Canada, where there still is a process as well. They're not mad with the government. They're mad if the government gives other people who broke the law a free pass to get ahead of the line. That's reasonable.
Okay, speaking of reason, go to reason.com, search up how long does it take to become a United States citizen on average, and every So don't trust me. Don't take the economist's word for it, because that's what I'm pulling my data from.
Okay. Well, I think we have to let him go because it's his. Okay, Austin. Yeah. Is it Austin Petersen for President.com?
No, it's AustinForPresident.com. Sorry about the quality.
No,
I'll give you guys a better soon.
That's okay. Yeah, we'll have you back and we'll talk more about other issues on which we agree. But I appreciate the respectful disagreement. And Austin Petersen, thank you for your questions. We will be back after this with Dave Rubin. He texted me. Apparently, he's getting flack for even associating with me, and I don't know what's going on. So Dave Rubin after the break, and possibly Mark Zuckerberg. Stay tuned. Louder with Crowder. Steven Crowder here. Hey, Jared, what are you doing?
I'm just having trouble getting through this book.
Well, that's because you can't read.
I know!
You should have used Freedom Project Academy.
Freedom what?
Yeah, Freedom Project Academy. Just go to fpeusa.org. It's a fully accredited private online school, no Common Core, and absolutely no government funding whatsoever. All the classes are taught live online, kindergarten through high school, with real teachers based around the country. So through Freedom Project's classical curriculum, students master the basics like math, English, history, science, alongside some more commonly neglected courses like logic. You're not getting that in a lot of schools. Economics, American Studies, and Latin, all of which foster the long-lost art of critical thinking and create leaders for tomorrow. All classes are recorded to be viewed 24/7, and you can get your very own sneak peek of any class or professor at fpeusa.org. Open enrollment runs March through July, but classes always fill up fast. Now, do you have your GED equivalency, Jared?
No, is that important?
I think so. You might want to give them a call. That's Freedom Project Academy at fpeusa.org.
Welcome to Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks. The world's fastest land mammal, the cheetah, is capable of achieving its maximum speed of 65 miles per hour quicker than most modern sports cars. Am I reading that right?
Yes, Jasper. Just keep going. Just keep going. You got this.
Oh, there's no way. I'm telling you, that's faster than my Corvette in third gear. You're telling me that cheetah could beat my car in a 0 to 60?
Yes, Jasper. That's what we're saying. Just stick to the script.
That gives me an idea. Could we set that up? Like a competition the viewer could really enjoy between me and my car and a live cheetah.
Damn it, Jasper. Just do the lines.
Well, I tell you what, I think the viewers would get a real kick out of it. Stay tuned for more Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Pronks.
Whoa, Jared, what are you doing?
Shoot bad guys.
With what?
My AR-15.
Where'd you get it?
AR-15.com.
Oh, there's another one. You got him.
Yeah.
Thank God for AR-15.com. They have AR-15 and accessories for sale and the best advice there is on the web. Oh, no, there's another one. You got him.
Yeah.
With your what?
AR-15.
From where?
AR-15.com.
That's the best place to go, and that's the takeaway because this commercial's about to stop. All right, glad to bring on this next guest. We did not expect him, but apparently something's been going on, some social justice warrior drama, and he texted me, and he was kind enough to come on after some dental work with Novocaine. You can follow him on Twitter at Reuben Report.
This should be good.
Or watch the show on, and he was watching the commercial break, and he seemed very confused.
Very confused.
Dave Rubin, thanks for being with us, brother.
Crowder, I am so pissed at you right now. I can't even begin to tell you how angry I am and what you have, the position that you have put me in, Crowder. You know what you've done?
I don't. You said someone was getting mad at you for not distancing yourself from me. Somehow Milo's involved at an explain it to me.
Sounds like a weird dream.
I received
a good dream
emails throughout the day. I'm sure you receive emails too. Most of them are usually nice. But I received a very angry email today. Someone telling me they were angry at me because I haven't distanced myself from Milo because you said a specific word in front of Milo at an event about 2 weeks ago, and Milo did not take offense to the word. So I should be taking offense for Milo for you saying a word in an event that I was not.
Why are we doing? The word was faggot. Why are we doing it?
I didn't know what of the words you said there.
Yeah, that's what it was. I mean, Jared might have to. I don't think he has to bleep it. I said it. Yeah, I said faggot. Milo does this whole dangerous faggot tour. I said this wonderful faggot is you created him, and someone's sending you an email about that.
That I have to distance myself, not from you. So I guess in this person's mind, you're already off the deep end. Like, I don't have to distance myself from you because they don't even view you as like on the range.
Right.
If that's an offensive. Didn't Hilary just have to apologize for saying off the range?
Probably.
Is on the range offensive? That doesn't seem offensive.
She should apologize for her hot sauce pandering. It was embarrassing.
But anyway, it's not that I should distance myself from Crowder. I should distance myself from Milo, even though Milo is running something called the Dangerous Faggot Tour. He is gay, by the way. He is not gay. He's pretty much the gayest person I know.
Yeah, it's true.
I live in West Hollywood.
He makes you look like a gay bantamweight. Were we going to say not gay, Jared?
Well, yeah, I remember because he said you can call me whatever you like, darling, or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's probably why they're pissed.
Well, even if Milo weren't there, I've used that word in my act several times. I mean, I don't care. I don't make so I don't want to like hide behind that. I'll use it, and people don't like it. That's fine. I'm not using it. I don't go up and go, oh, I hate faggots. I go up and have a bit about like how people used to make fun of me in school and names and stuff. So this is just so. I get these emails like that, and I don't often talk about it, but this is crazy, especially considering you'd think you'd be afforded. And this is what I'm talking about. Dave was talking about the Young Turks earlier. And you've taken this red pill. Leftists, like there aren't many like you out there. You can't frame it in unless there is principled sort of constitutional rights, and the freedom of speech is a part of that. And sort of like me with the Republican Party right now, someone like you just doesn't have a platform with the current Democratic Party.
Well, I think it's really interesting, and this is why me and you have sort of. Is it me and you or you and I?
I don't know. It's the Novocaine. Just go with it.
Yes, I got some. I had a, it's like from like when I was 12, I had a cavity that they finally replaced today. Anyway, we're at an interesting spot, the two of us right now, because clearly for you, right, the Republican Party is not going in the direction for a guy like you. If you really care about the Constitution, you care about how the government is supposed to work, you care about small government, a lot of the social things that you care about. These are not Trump things, right? And for me, I mean, everyone knows this already, but I've watched my side, the left, go crazy on the most important things to me. So free speech and all of that stuff. I have watched this side just absolutely crumble. And now we see it. It's not just, sometimes I think, because we exist in the online world, like how much of this is just happening on Twitter where people are being outraged all the time or commenting on YouTube. But this stuff, I almost cursed. I know I'm not supposed to curse. This stuff is real because it's happening at colleges.
Yeah.
And when you go to colleges, I'm actually going to with Milo. I'm going to UCLA with him in 2 weeks.
Taking your life in your hands.
Well, I assume they're going to go for him first.
Yeah.
So and I'm pretty quick. I'm kind of athletic. I can.
I thought you meant quick-witted. As a comic, we have that luxury in dealing with hecklers. Lecturers, sometimes it's not the same.
Yeah, I like to think I'm quick-witted. We'll find out. I haven't been doing that much stand-up, but I'm getting back into it.
Hold on. Before we get into this, because I want to say, because we don't have a ton of time, because we have to, I think Mark Zuckerberg might be. We don't know, can't confirm, but we have someone on the line here. So you wanted to talk about the Ben Milo thing real quick. What was your question there?
So real quick, it goes to why me and you are in such interesting spots right now, because we're watching both of these political parties split in half. And it's like, look, at the end of the day, 6 months ago, Ben Shapiro and Milo Yiannopoulos were friends, right? And they and they had this love-hate thing and this fun little flirt thing and whatever they were doing. But they were on the same side, basically. Yeah. And now as you're seeing the Trump train take off and the traditional conservative thing crumble, you're seeing this massive split. And look, I think ultimately these splits are important. My liberals on the left, the few that are left, have to split from this progressive, regressive nonsense. So these splits are good, but I do think it's really interesting that people who only 6 months ago were friends now can't talk at all. You know what I mean? Or unfollow each other on Twitter and all that.
What's that rat gnawing at a wire I'm hearing, Jared? Is that his thing?
Not me. It's not me.
It's coming through. I think just it's internet scuffle
noise.
Yeah.
What is going on tonight? You absolutely deserve to be fired, not gay, Jared. Yeah, and by the way, I just need to clarify there. People got mad and they were telling Milo, he said only Ben confirmed and Milo, he's dissing you. No, I talked about it. Listen, there are contractual issues at play. Ben did confirm. I understand that, Milo isn't necessarily free to make his own call on that, and I clarified it. So I want people to understand that we weren't necessarily throwing him under the bus. Listen, we're kind of in a unique position. I'm not beholden to anybody at all. Yeah. No one. I can do whatever I want. I can go. If I say something, it's because I feel like saying it. And so that was what happened with Milo and Ben. Ben was free to come on, and I don't know that Milo was. There a backroom issue. So I want to make sure. People were saying Milo's not a coward. He would be willing to do it. I just don't know that he can.
Right. So that kind of stuff, though, that's like the little in the weeds stuff. But the bigger issue of this split that we're dealing with right now, that's why I have great. I like you, obviously, but I have great empathy for the position you're in, because you're in the same position as me, just on the other side. But that's why we're finding our audience.
But I also don't see why. I just don't. Obviously, I don't see why one would target, but even though you're more liberal, right? I don't see why one would target Ben Shapiro. I wouldn't target you, even though I disagree with you. Austin Petersen, disagree with on information. But if I'm going to target somebody, it's going to be Bernie Sanders and then Hilary Clinton. Obviously, we've made fun of Donald Trump because I'm a comedian and it's a gold mine. We've made fun of everybody. But you don't need to be targeting people who agree with you on so much. And that's the progress, for lack of a better word, that I hope some of these people, they can make that connection.
Well, I totally hear you on that. And that's a little bit of, some of these Trump people, and especially just the internet troll division of the Trump department, they're so excited that they're winning right now. Right. That they're just like doing a scorched earth campaign and just mocking and destroying everybody else. And then now they're going to the purist test. Like it used to be rhinos and now it's going to be like Trump rhinos. And that's not good either. Like, everyone has to understand, just because now you're in the cool class, like, guess what? One day you won't be. So maybe be a little nicer to some of the people.
Well, that's my thing with Trump. When we're talking with Austin, the executive actions. Someone who doesn't say, hey, I can't do this. I need to go through Congress, I want a president who says that, even if I would love him to just write it up because I agree with his policy. I want a president who says, I can't and shouldn't do that. And that's where I have an issue with either the right or the left. Like, you don't want to, like we talked about, or I was talking about earlier with the Young Turks, you don't want to give over this much power to the social justice leftists on campus, and you don't want to give over this much power to a president, because even if you're on the winning team right now, that can change like that.
So that's really interesting. So look at that. I mean, you had Austin Petersen. This is a full-on libertarian, hardcore libertarian. I had John Fugelsang on my show this week. I'm sure you know John.
Oh, I can't stand him.
Okay, so John, I love John, right? And he's a far left guy, much further left than I am. And he was going on and on about why he thought it would be good if Bernie could do more via executive action. Now, I called him out on it, and I said, I don't think that's good, and I think Obama's done too much by executive action, and I think George Bush did plenty by it too, and I don't think giving that branch of government more and more power is a good idea. But again, so me and you are fighting an ideological battle on different sides of the.
Well, John Fugelsang, I know you're friends with him. Sorry, Jared, we might need to hit the echo there because he didn't have headphones. He might be a good guy, but he is a guy who has always been on the wrong side. Well, not always, largely been on the wrong side of freedom of speech. And you can't put this monster back in the closet. You can't do it when you do this for so long and you accuse all of your opposition of being racist, homophobic. He is, whether he's your friend or not, he is a quintessential guy who's done that, and then can't turn around and say that he supports free speech or gets mad when they turn on him. And eventually they will. He'll offend someone in a college and he'll get banned.
Yeah, well, listen, first off, I can honestly say that from the stand-up that I've done with him over the years and the gigs that I've done here and there, I haven't seen him really go down that route. It's very possible, and he may, if he has, then maybe he believes that's the right thing to do or whatever. But I know he does believe in the philosophical, well, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I would say I think he believes in the philosophical piece of what you just said, which is what I've been pushing a lot lately.
Well, he's been invited on the show. He won't come.
Yeah, well, look, with this Facebook thing that I know you're intimately involved in, if the left doesn't stand up for this now, guess what? One day they're going to come for our ideas too. So it's not that I care about these conservative ideas that much, but I understand the way the world works. And if you let some ideas be shut down, if the Facebook is the highway of information, you let the ones that you don't like be shut down. Well, guess what? Someday you're going to have an opinion that people don't like. It's so obvious. And this is the stuff that's far more important than all the horse race nonsense politics that everybody's caught up in.
I absolutely agree. I think and that's why I say, people who are on the right side of the First Amendment right now. I came on your show. Everyone on my channel likes Dave Rubin. Everyone on Dave Rubin's channel hates Steven Crowder. Like I said, because there's still, I think, some of that carryover. I think this
might just be a testament to I'm a very likable guy.
You are a very likable guy. Even with
a little abrasive and
the Novocaine cheek. You're like Dudley Moore in 10 when he was Bo Derek was at the other end of the coffee shop. Okay, where can people find you? We have to go to break, Dave.
YouTube.com/Rubin Report, Aura.tv/Rubin Report, @Rubin Report on Twitter.
YouTube.com/Rubin Report. That's your one plug. You only get one, but only because you're not heterosexual, and that's how we play here on Louder with Crowder. We're going to break. Discrimination, it's a part of our format, and we have that right. Stay tuned.
Greetings, America. Hopper here. Last we spoke, I was discussing the severity of the problem of squirrels in the United States of America. For far too long, politicians have been afraid to address the problem, and in order to purchase the votes of the squirrel voting constituency, who have garnered more influence over modern elections than ever before. It is not fair. It is not right, and these squirrels are subhuman. And I mean that in the literal sense as well as the figurative. Also, they are sub-dog. I think we all know that, but I feel the need to clarify for people who might not be familiar in the audience. It is why I am currently proposing officially under a Hopper America, we will round up every last squirrel, male squirrel, female squirrels, and even the squirrels that can fly or are black squirrels. I don't know if they ran through a fire or it's genetic, but all the squirrels will be rounded up and sent back to their country of origin. Hell. That is correct. I promise you this, America. Hopper is the one and only candidate who will take on the plague that has ruined America for far too long. And if it is required, I will personally march these squirrels to the gates of hell, where they will forever regret the day they even considered taking Hopper's cheeses. Or your cheeses. Or anybody else's. It's about you. Show your support with #FeelTheHopper. And end the squirrels.
I'ma do
Glad to be back. That was Dave Rubin, last minute edition.
Last minute edition. Surprise
Chipmunk
guests.
Cheek.
Ah, it's fantastic.
Chipmunk Cheek had his cavity removed. We didn't get that gay gene removed. I don't know. Apparently they can do that now. They can do modern things with science. The gay jokes just don't stop coming when you have a gay person on or Asian person. We play identity politics when it comes to comedy.
That's fantastic.
Speaking of which, let's bring up my screen here, not gay Jared. At Harvard, all male club members to be banned from student leadership and scholarship endorsements. Of course, by the way, third hour. So they've come up with a new inclusive policy. Now, here's something that you need to understand for clarification. Women who are part of sorority or girls club will also be penalized under these rules. Basically, gender-specific clubs, and they won't receive endorsements for dean scholarships. So sororities or fraternities. So it is either whether you're a man or woman at Harvard. I just want to clarify this policy. However, men will be double secret punished. Why? Because not only will the men in all male clubs at Harvard not be eligible for dean endorsements for scholarships, but they will not be allowed, unlike women, to pursue leadership roles. Women still have the option to lead. So if you are in an exclusively male club, you're not allowed to be in a position of leadership at Harvard.
Welcome to 2016.
What is the sense here?
I don't know.
I don't understand this.
I don't know. If you're looking for sense in any of the things of late, you're looking for the wrong thing.
I mean, OSU launching the bias response team. Maybe you can tweet me at S. Crowder. What am I missing? Why should men in all men-only clubs, if they're a part of any male-only club, why should they not be allowed to be in some position of leadership? It's one of those things, like charter schools is something that I can't understand. And there was one other I was talking today, charter schools, and there was one other issue that I couldn't I've never heard of a valid argument against school vouchers. In other words, instead of going to a school, being attached to the student, I've never heard a valid argument against that. Oh, disclosure laws as it relates to AIDS. When Chad was on.
Oh, yeah.
Seems to me you have AIDS. You should have to let your partner know before you have intercourse with them. He was talking about that, how the gay community is fighting it. People in Congress, it's mainstream. They're fighting it as discriminatory, as homophobic. I have never heard a valid argument against school vouchers, school choice, or against someone being legally, I guess, sort of, gosh. You should have to tell your partner if you have AIDS. It's attempted,
Why is that difficult?
I don't understand any valid arguments against these two things. There are some things where I can understand, okay, you don't agree with me necessarily as it relates to the left. There are some issues where I try and find some middle ground. There are some issues.
Hold on. Sorry. There's
what?
We have a call coming in. I don't know why people keep calling in, but
someone's calling in?
Somebody's calling in.
Okay.
They're there. They're there.
Hello?
Hi, hi, Steven.
Yeah, who's there?
Hi, this is Mark Zuckerberg. How you doing?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Now, this is Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook.
Yes, the Zuck. That is me, Mark Zuckerberg.
This is odd that you'd be called. I don't even know that the number is posted.
Should I get a lower third up for him?
Oh, yeah, get a lower third up.
Lower third up? He's got it.
What do you mean?
I don't know. There's just it's good. I guess
he's got a lower third.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say to boot him. No, don't boot him. I mean, hey, Mark, we're flattered you called into the show. Thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me on. I just wanted to extend an olive branch to you, Stephen. And I just think this whole big lawsuit idea is just a big misunderstanding.
Well, hold on.
Okay?
There's no lawsuit. I want to clarify. We filed a petition for information, so let's just be clear about that.
Lawsuit, petition, you say potato, I say potato. But I just wanted to let you know that your claims have been a little bit unfounded, and I think that maybe you, my former employee didn't know what he was talking about. He was just trying to get up there in the news, And, we're not doing any censoring. Why would we do that?
Okay. Well, first off, the petition for information was not regarding the censoring. It was regarding a billing issue, which, you know full well has occurred. We have a paper trail of that. But the censoring was from a former employee, and not the word censor, but talked about selectively curating and eliminating conservative voices. You're saying Facebook doesn't do that at all?
No. That's just that's truly not the case. We don't do any, and we don't censor or we don't block any free speech at all on the site.
Not at all.
Of course not, unless there's something that's triggering to
What? Wait, what do you hold on? What do you mean? Wait, that's important.
Well,
What do you mean triggering?
anything that may be trigger emotional reaction from
like what? Like who?
Oh, like like minorities and women, transgender, transsexuals, anything about Planned Parenthood.
Okay, now this seems pretty broad. If you say you don't selectively curate and eliminate stories, that would seem to prove the opposite. It sounds like what you're saying is you eliminate those. Those are based on points of view.
Oh, no. Just those few things, because we just think it's important to create kind of a safe space on Facebook because it's all about connecting to people. And we just don't want anything that'll trigger any
okay, so that's it. That's all it is.
Homosexuals or any anybody that you know what I mean, right?
No, I don't. I disagree, and I think a lot of people will disagree if you say that it's not any form of censorship or infringement on points of view, and then include that laundry list. I don't think that's fair to do. I don't think people will agree with you.
No.
You say laundry list. I say everybody has a good time.
Well, everybody has a good time unless someone disagrees with you.
Oh no. No.
What's happening? Because I hear my mic going
I don't know.
out.
It's just I'll check it out.
Is my mic working? Is it not working?
Oh, you guys are having some technical difficulties there, huh? Yeah. This is Steven Crowder, and I would like to revoke all of the things I have said about the Facebook, and they were unfounded, and I truly apologize. I apologize everything I said about Muslims. I apologize. You just nixed that from the record. I don't believe any of that. That was all just a joke. And same thing that goes for homosexuals, transgender people, which I used to call trannies, but I have changed my position, and I will call them the name they would like to be called, which is transsexuals, transgender, the trans community. I think that's. Oh yes, and let me be clear that fat women are beautiful.
For breaking news on Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry Matheson. We take you now with breaking news as El Chapo, the world's most notorious drug dealer, has escaped his previous quarters. And we now have live footage of him in a high-speed chase with local law enforcement and his attorney. They appear to be driving in a sports car with a sunroof, and his lawyer appears to be making an appearance.
This car is very nice.
Those are some slick rotating rims. For breaking news on Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry Matheson.
Hey, if you're listening to or watching this podcast, there's a strong chance that you are not yet following me on Twitter at @SCrowder, where I'm tweeting all day long. I'm ticking off the social justice warriors. You should see the amount of hate I get on there. Far, far, far worse than any fat Sports Illustrated model or Black Lives Matter charlatan. So listen, it's free, you get to be entertained, and you can chime in. Also, if you're following me on Twitter, you can send me your tweets, and maybe you'll be lucky enough, and I mean lucky enough because I have a lot of followers, okay, that they call me the follower machine, to have your tweet to me, or Not Gay Jared, included in our rockinest tweet of the week. So follow me on Twitter at @SCrowder. If not, I don't want to say I have sights on your mother, but... Oh, she's dead? You're just saying that because I made a mom joke. No, she's really dead? Well, you kind of walked into it. All right, glad to be back. So glad to be back after that. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, we have control back of the studio, and go to louderwithcrowder.com. We will let you know as we figure out the updates. Up next, you know who this is when you hear this intro.
She's a lady. She's a lady. Talking about that little lady. And the lady is mine.
That's because I possess her. Because I am her husband, and she is my trophy. Mrs. Crowder, thank you for being on with us.
I guess I'm possessed by you.
This is true.
Sometimes.
Every now and then, that's what happens. She turns around, her head spins around, she spits out pea soup and says, I'm a Crowder now. So you are here, but you usually do a book review, but not a book review.
I do. I usually do a book review. One of these days I'll show my face. There's the picture that Jared has of me. I kind of look like a turtle, and right now I'm in my jammies. So one of these days I'll show my face out there so they know that you actually have a wife.
Well, people are pretty eager to see your face. I don't know how I feel about that, considering the photoshops with not gay Jared. Okay, so documentary this time. What? Jared's trying to grab the mic.
Oh, for all you know, I'm just doing a great woman impression.
This is true.
You're talking to me.
Jared he can throw his voice like a grasshopper. Okay.
That was a hint of my cheek, everybody.
Well, they didn't see you because Jared didn't go to his camera. Okay, so it was documentary. The documentary was on what? Because you always have these weird, whether it's like cults or prison camps or progeria. What's on the ticket
Right.
this week?
So normally I give you a book review, but the latest book I was reading was about cleaning homes, so I didn't think your viewers would want to hear about that.
No,
so,
and your essential oils. That's enough
yeah,
for us.
I'm definitely into those lately too. So it was kind of a tie between if I was going to talk about legal brothels, progeria, or North Korea. North Korea is always a favorite of mine. That's one of my favorite subjects. So I chose North Korea. And
so you watch documentaries on all of these subjects, correct?
Of course. You know what I watched on the plane next to you.
Well, I watched the progeria one with you, and thank God I had a happy ending.
And the intersex people. You wouldn't watch that one, though.
It started off right away with a diagram that was very medical, and I just said no.
We need to know these things. 0.0001% of the population.
That's what I thought was so funny. They go, a surprising amount of the population around you are intersex. 1 out of 16,000 Americans. And I was like, what? So, and of course, it's like, so of the small percentage that are intersex, most of them just get the procedure and then they move on, and you tell me I'm intersex. They take the small percentage of social justice warriors who want to make intersect with transgenderism. We'll talk about that next time. So North Korea, because you know a lot about this. So, okay, what was it? What is something that people should know about? Is this North Korean prison camps?
No, but that's another story for another day, because I could tell you all about those. Today is about the unauthorized biography of Kim Jong-un.
Kim Jong-un, so not Jong-il. Okay, I know you read something on Kim Jong-il, but now you did. So Kim Jong-un. Okay, give me some tidbits. We know Kim Jong-il. Was it 16 holes in one in his first game of golf? What do they say about Kim Jong-un?
Well, I'll give you a couple tidbits about him. I mean, first of all, I will say, so this documentary was PBS, so they have a really exciting title, but then womp womp. So I had to look up a couple facts for your listeners so they weren't bored. So don't go watching this documentary expecting all these great facts. You'll find them elsewhere on the interwebs.
Okay, so it was a documentary that inspired fact. Searching.
Correct,
okay.
yes.
All right.
Well, I mean, he went to school in Switzerland. As you know, Switzerland is very, very friendly to the North Koreans, or maybe you didn't know that.
I did.
He is not the oldest son of Kim Jong-il. He is the youngest son,
So why was he picked?
Well, one of them was too effeminate. The other one had an embarrassing...
More effeminate than Kim Jong-un?
Oh, we'll get there in a minute.
It looks like Chaz Bono.
One of them had an embarrassing incident where he tried to visit Disneyland with his family and got caught with fake passports. So that obviously ruled him out of the running for president with that disgrace.
Well, I don't think they're running for president.
Well, but his father's, in his father's
what's
election.
What's the role? Do they call it dictator? They don't.
I think it's president.
Okay.
So anyway, after he took over when his father died, we'll just go with the short form, and Un. He murdered basically everybody in his father's cabinet, including his uncle, which a lot of people probably know about. And I will tell you, there was an interview with his Japanese chef, and his Japanese chef seemed very concerned about him being very feminine. So it seemed like he thought he was gay for a long time. And then
Kim Jong-un.
Yeah. And then he was like, oh, I was so relieved when he saw a picture of a woman with big boobs and was like, wow, look at those kahunas. I sighed a big breath of relief.
Sounds like he's putting on a show.
Right. So I suspect.
Hey, everybody, I'm not gay. I like booby. Right? We all like booby. That's what straight men like. Go away, Carl. I'll talk to you later.
So I think this pudgy little dork may also be a homo. I'm just saying. But interesting. I just got to get all these facts in for your listeners. You know, they love the facts. His father, he never spoke in public. They only showed pictures or videos. Do you know why?
He was gay.
No, but close. He had a stutter.
Well, I guess stutter, lisp at that point. Who's keeping count? Okay.
So I'm going to give you a couple interesting first.
Not gay, Jared. How much time do we have in this segment? 7 minutes. Okay, so we do have some time.
So I've got some time to give you some interesting facts. Well, first I'll tell you the visuals of this PBS documentary. Mostly it's just this pudgy little dork walking around inspecting bread rolls and fake things being made at factories, stuff that everybody's seen if you've ever seen a picture of North Korea. And then the people, you know, when he comes out, they're wailing and they're just sobbing. It's quite amazing fanfare. And then also you notice when they're clapping, they're like robots. I'm wondering if they teach them at a very young age to all clap in rhythm. That's one of the strangest things I've ever seen is you see thousands of these North Koreans and they're clapping in this perfect rhythm. But anyway,
and the Asians are not particularly known for rhythm.
No, that's true. You know what else the Asians?
You see a lot of great North Korean hip hop artists coming out. Show me the North Korean Marvin Gaye.
You know what else Asians?
Barry White.
You know what else Asians aren't known for? Being tall.
It's true.
And
careful.
No, listen, this is good. Kim Jong-il actually told the North Korean people, you're worried about what I'm going to say,
a little
aren't
bit,
you?
That's fine.
No, but listen, this is a good fact. He told, I think it was in the 80s, he told the North Korean people, he was handing out pamphlets saying that he had a cure for dwarfism. So I'm not kidding, this is true.
That was a populist issue.
So he rounded up all of the dwarfs, saying he had a medicine for them, and then he deported them to islands. I'm serious, like this is a total fact, to clear the dwarfs out of the bloodstream.
I can't believe that worked. That's like something you'd see in Bugs Bunny. Doc, dwarf put up a sign. Dwarfs go this way. And they all show up and they just walk straight into a barge that then is propelled to the next island. So there are no dwarfs left in North Korea?
Apparently not. All of the dwarfs that wanted to be cured
Is this a real fact?
This is a real fact. I swear, this is a real fact. Another real fact.
So the people of North Korea, since there's no freedom, they believe that he cured dwarfism?
Correct. They believe he cured dwarfism.
They're just sitting there like, if you were to grab him by the face and go, why do you still support this regime? He cured dwarfism. He's a god. They have small hands. They make me feel uncomfortable. No more.
Something else, and this is something you should really be thanking Kim Jong-il for, Stephen. Did you know he invented the hamburger?
Kim Jong-il?
Mm-hmm. According to him, he invented the hamburger.
Kim Jong-il invented the hamburger,
yes.
Which was named after somebody? Hamburger?
And then I've just got a few important things you need to know about Kim Jong-un, just, for conversation. First of all, they believe that he is the reincarnation of his grandfather.
I knew that.
Okay, you knew that. But I bet that you didn't know that he learned to drive a car when he was 3 years old. And he was a proficient driver at the 8x3.5.
This is what he tells everybody?
Yes.
He can't reach the pedals at 33 years old. How did he learn to swim at 3 years old? Drive. Gosh.
If only you could be like him.
But by his standards, because he's North Korean, he doesn't use his turn signals, but that's perfectly fine.
Oh, before I go, I have to say something you don't know about on air.
Okay.
Can I say it? Can I say it now, or do I have to say it after?
Well, as long as it doesn't violate FCC violations.
It's not going to do that. Can I ask now?
Did you have wine before you came
No,
on the
I
show?
didn't.
Okay.
No, can I say it now?
What is it?
Okay, so as you know, I've been really into.
The fact that you're slowing down worries me. Is there a request coming?
No. Well, sort of. It's
Then
just
hurry up with
pause,
it.
okay? All right. I've been really into watching, don't judge, Lifetime true life crime movies, mostly about spouses murdering each other. I'm not sure.
The
It's
ones
just
that are
been
based
really
on real
interesting.
stories?
Yeah, only the real story ones. And I've gone through several of them, and the one that I really, really wanted to watch, I could not find anywhere. I looked on Amazon, I looked on iTunes. It's called The Perfect Husband.
That
And when I
sounds like a
looked,
Lifetime movie.
then when I looked it up, I realized, and this is true story, that it was none other than Dean Cain that is the star of this film. So all of you Louder with Crowder fans, I'm asking you to tweet Dean Cain and ask him to send Mrs. Crowder a copy of The Perfect Husband.
Well, not Gay Jared's better friends with him than I am. He's the one who would be able to accommodate.
I don't care how. I just need to watch this film.
Is this really that important? You had to use the leverage of being
It
on the
is
show?
that important. I've watched like 7 of these, and
Because you did ask me that, and I said I'm not going to ask.
I
Dean
know,
Cain
that's
to
why I'm
send you a
asking on air,
copy.
and I'm trying to get your fans
It's a Lifetime
to tweet
movie. I don't
him.
think it's on DVD, and I also think that's frankly a little insulting to Dean Cain.
What's insulting?
Well,
that
he
I
doesn't
want to
know that
watch
they
his
can't find it.
film?
He probably thinks it's airing every hour on the hour.
No, it's because it's such a prized position. It's like the Disney movies where they put it in the vault. They put it in the Lifetime movie vault.
Next to Walt's Jew-hating corpse.
We assume it's just sold out.
Yes. Well, not Gay Jared. You can ask Dean Cain.
Everybody ask him, please, I need to see this.
I'll see what I can do.
All right, see what you can do.
What I can
Okay,
do.
well, that's enough out of you. Hijack the show. So that was.
She's a lady. Oh, she's a lady. Talking about that little lady. And the lady is mine.
All right, glad to have had her. Thank you, sweetheart, for being on. And has Hopper been fed? No. Okay, time to get out of here and go feed the big old dog. He's running for president. While you're at it, see
It's a
if you can
draining thing, the campaign trail.
Yeah, while you're at it, see if you can scrape something up for me. Thank you. What did she throw? I don't know what she threw at me. Is there writing on this?
No.
Okay.
Oh, it's just like
Jared, she was in your chair. Oh, these are
She
notes.
was.
These are notes. She's working off on notes. Well, you know, that's why I'm the real professional. I don't need notes.
Notes.
It's
all up in the
right. So
old-
that was Mrs.
the old
Crowder.
noggin.
That being said, I the dwarf thing I find fascinating.
It's hilarious.
I'm going to tell everyone that story who will listen.
Hilarious.
Just say, I have a cure for dwarfism. Come over to my laboratory. They show
just
up
like
and they
Hitler
get
had
shipped
a
off.
Hitler had a cure for the gays.
He had a cure for the gays.
And the Jew. He
There's
can cure the
nothing
Jew.
new under the sun under
No.
the dictator playbook. You just swap out Jews with dwarves
No.
or gays. There's nothing
You
new.
would think they'd find new activities.
Or the rich, just the 1%. You just swap them out. I can get rid of the 1%. Really? How? Oh, you get on this ship, and we're gonna. Where's it going? Ah, we're all on Fire Island.
Have you noticed it's like 305 degrees in here?
It is very hot in here.
Everyone's like wondering why we're pantsless, and then if they can only feel the temperature.
How would anyone know that we're pantsless?
Well, some things have been.
Oh. Well, you have to
disclosed
update me with that on the break. We have
accidentally.
some more stories. Is this the last segment we're going into?
We're going to the last segment.
Going
here.
into the last segment. Okay, we will We will wrap up this whole thing in a nice bow for you. Louder with Crowder. Stay with us.
Welcome to Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Prunk. Oh, the male silverback gorilla. A pure picture of power, speed, and a package of elegance. You know what? I swear that gorilla reminds me of my old college roommate. It's uncanny.
Damn it, Jasper, just do the lines.
No, really. It'd be great if we could do like a side-by-side and just bring in...
Don't say it.
Don't say what?
The name of your roommate. Just drop it, move on. Come on.
No, it's nothing bad. He was a great roommate, and he was built like a brick outhouse. It's just the resemblance here is striking between this gorilla and...
Don't.
Now, don't what?
Don't say the name. Jasper?
My roommate Tyrone. Stay tuned for more Wild at Large on the Nature Network, narrated by Jasper Prunk.
We are back. Glad to be with
that segment always gets the weirdest. That
it always
little
gets
intro
the weirdest. I don't
gets
know
the
why.
weirdest.
It inspires weird dancing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Thank you so much, louderwithcreditor.com, for people who listen, where you want to stay up to date and all the stories every day. Hopper, stop squeaking that dead squirrel toy.
He's got to get it.
He's just trying to kill it. People understand with a toy, when they're ripping it apart, that dog is getting, that squeaker is something dying. Don't forget that that is a wild animal. Like, do not wake up that dog with your face in his face when he's having a nightmare or something. People just need to understand they like to humanize their dogs. It's still a wild animal. Hopper, stop squeaking. Thank you. Good boy. I feel like this is one of those things that is going to work way better as a podcast than on terrestrial radio. People are going to be very upset. Our affiliates. We are going to get letters from WEZS New Hampshire, WHAC Northern Florida, Patriot Northern Michigan, KLID Missouri, WKMQ Missouri, KNEZ Reno Nevada, and I think Wham somewhere on Sundays. I don't know where they put us now. Still waiting on that phone call. Thank God for the interwebs. So listen. Jared, put the camera on you. How are you? Why? This is not. You can't just. This is the problem. You can't laugh that hard, and then people just. I have to be distracted by it.
We're good.
We're good. I assume we'll get that phone call. Listen, I've talked about this before. I don't know. Did I talk about this today? I understand that there are low information voters on both sides. Okay, we were talking about this with Dave Rubin. I understand that there are liars on both sides. This is important for people to note. I get really bothered when conservatives just say, or Trump supporters just say, well, the other side is stupid. You want to know how to beat a liberal? With facts. You want to know what they're saying in the Occupy Democrats for Wall Street page? You want to know how to trick a Republican? Facts. Don't just say the opposition has no facts. Prove that to be the case with your facts. Prove their facts to be incorrect. I don't like a lot of those bumper slogans. So I understand there are low information voters both on the left and the right. There are liars both on the left and the right. I acknowledge that. I fully accept it. And there are good people on both sides. I fully acknowledge and accept that. One thing, however, that is undeniable is that in 2016, there is only one side of the current political, cultural spectrum that systematically and constantly seeks to silence and eliminate voices of dissent. And that is the modern left. That is the modern progressive left.
Can we hold on 1 second? It's a news update.
She's still doing it?
She's still going.
Honestly, I'm amazed that she's still kneeling.
I am too. It's been a while now.
They have to change the slogan
Been
for
a
the bad
while.
people. Better to die on your feet than live on your knees. I don't know what that is. It's somewhere in between. Better to gasp on your knees than stand and go into cardiac arrest.
Diabetes.
Yes.
Standing. Yes.
There's only one side that seeks to. Well, you see it with the Fat Pride movement. You're thin privilege. They're teaching that in schools. We wrote about that. Thin privilege. Well, listen, I have an opinion on the economy. White privilege. I think we need some welfare reform. White privilege, racism. Listen, I just think that businesses should be able to determine if men with dresses should go on. Cis privilege. You don't see that from the right. Now, I know people will point to the kind of, the sort of 90s, really that was a Tipper Gore movement or censorship, they would say, on TV and the rating system. Good example of that is South Park. We spoke at a seminar, I don't know what you call it. It was a talk with the RDF department with Matt Parker. Matt Stone?
Matt Parker.
Matt Stone, Trey Parker. And he was talking there, and because we had Zach Anner there, it was kind of a celebrity, and he's a paraplegic. He has cerebral palsy. You always get the front of the line. Hilarious. By the way, I wanted to ask, how do they pick the Paralympic Games? We were watching that the other day.
Yeah.
It seems arbitrary. It's like, we're going to do a foot race with people with no feet, but what about people with no arms? Let's just toss them in a swimming pool.
Yeah, we were both watching.
How do you pick the events?
One of us could figure it out.
The guys were running. One of them had one metal leg. One of them had two. I know that it's just supposed to be inspiring and look at these people, but at some point you've got, like, there's a certain level of expectation, right? In a normal, okay, 4 limbs, a head, a torso. There's reasonable.
And even the kind of extensions they have on their not legs, different.
Very different.
From person to person.
Maybe people can tweet me. I don't know how they pick the events. Like a decathlon. Okay, so we're going to allow people with disabilities or superabilities, whatever the politically correct term is now. Okay, so we're going to do a decathlon. Yeah. Well, one guy has no legs. This guy has no arms. They're going to compete in the same event. Well, I'm guessing one's going to do better in the high jump and one's going to have an advantage in the javelin.
That would bear to reason.
I just don't understand the system at play. Back to what we were talking about. As it relates to Facebook, as it relates to, Reuben is great. That's why he doesn't have a party anymore. He doesn't have a platform anymore. There is only one side right now. Oh, I was talking about Matt Stone. He even said with South Park, he's like, Christians never tried to ban us, and we really made fun of Jesus and Christians a lot, because they just wanted us on a later hour. And he said, we wanted to be on a later hour because we had more freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Muslims were the one. Comedy Central wouldn't run our Islam cartoon with Muhammad. Liberals were the one who want to boycott us. He said it wasn't Christians. And you could hear a pin drop at UT when he said this. They were surprised. Stupid Christians, man. And I think they sort of realized a shift. And by the way, I don't consider myself a part of that movement. If you don't like it, change the channel. There are FCC rules. They follow those. If they go on at a certain time, I agree with that. I agree. You pick what you watch, okay? But there is one, so I say that to point to, I know that's what people will use and rebut. Well, what about the Christians? No, listen, I don't consider myself a part of that. But as a party, as a platform, you look at Bernie Sanders bringing on Black Lives Matter activists who believe in racially segregated spaces. Hilary Clinton on there, who's perpetuating the wage gap myth and says that men who don't recognize that, or alludes to it being hate speech. The trans movement, where if you simply say, hey, you are biologically, scientifically not a woman, hate speech. There are stupid people and smart people on both sides. There are critical thinkers on both sides. It is imperative that you understand there is only one side today that systemically, as a part of their platform, as a part of their sales pitch to a voting constituency, is to consistently silence voices of opposition. And that is something that should alarm everybody, because like Dave Rubin said, that just needs to change. Whoever is in power, it can change, it can be turned against you. And even though I know a lot of leftists listen to the show, I think a lot of them listen to it because they understand that. And they understand that we'll have people who differ from me in opinions on the program. We don't do that. And you don't see Republicans showing up shouting down liberal speakers. They're not pulling a Code Pink. They're not pulling a Trigglypuff. Listen, you may not like it. You may think it's demagoguing to do the left versus right, but you need to recognize a very stark difference. The people who believe in the Constitution, the people who believe in the First Amendment, they are the ones who believe in it across the board. The left never does. Right now. Make your decision. See you next week. Louder with Crowder.